had a hard sweater on. I figured I should change.
Is my prayer here? Yes, it is. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as we start today's meeting. At this time, we will begin with a short prayer and then a salute to our flag. Almighty God, grant us the wisdom to make those decisions that are in the best interest of all of our residents. May the Heavenly Father of us all bless those who have given the ultimate sacrifice and service to our nation, and may He watch over and protect our servicemen and women now guarding the gates of freedom. And a salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Statement of publication, please, Jessica.
Take notice that this regular meeting of the Mayor and Council being held this 14th day of February 2022 has been advertised and posted in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Conti.
Here.
June 4. Mar.
Here.
Novak.
Here.
Anoha.
Here.
Roberts.
Here.
At this time, I'll ask Council President for the approval of prior minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to submit the minutes from January 24th, 2022, regular agenda and executive sessions.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Mar.
Yes.
Conti.
Yes.
June 4.
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Anoha.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
At this time, ladies and gentlemen, first let me say good evening and welcome back to Council Chambers. I would like to begin this meeting with something exceptionally special, and I will ask that the council please join me over near the podium so that we may honor a young man within our community who has just shown outstanding bravery and love and is really just an absolute pillar to our society. So please join me up at the podium. Inside or outside? You know what? Let's do outside. I feel so far removed when we're up here, separated by gates. Thank you, Jessica. Everybody's here? Good thing you sent it to me. So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to right now take this opportunity to present William Alfrey. Would you please come stand forward, turn and face, and family. So first, it is my honor to stand here next to such a tall young man. Maybe we should go back up there. To present this certificate of recognition presented by the Mayor and Borough Council to William Alfrey for his heroic act of bravery, heroism, and applying his skills learned as a Boy Scout in a time of need. Now, to truly say everything that I wish to say to this young man would require a full document, a book larger than anything that you have seen. The act of bravery and heroism that we speak about, this is for you, is something extremely personal and something that would literally bring me to tears. But I just want to say that you have many angels, and one especially looking down on you right now, sending you love and hugs, and watching over and protecting you and your entire family. At this time, I'll let you address our community if you like. Do you want to say a few words? You're an articulate young man. You can, if you like, you can just say thank you or share as much as you want, okay? You can just say thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I'll give you a hug. Do you want me to help? Yeah. So I just asked William if he would like me to share with you really what his brave and heroic acts are. So, my God, it seems like a long time ago, but it hasn't really been. November 17th, 2020, while at home, William's mom went into a health crisis. Not certain of what was happening, William immediately sprang into action to try and save his mother's life, performing CPR based on what you've learned from Boy Scouts and from Dad and from Mom. And he worked tirelessly until the emergency services arrived. Mom isn't here with us anymore. But for a young man to step in to such a crisis situation and not panic, but turn around and rather look and say, what can I do? I don't think I would have the strength to be able to do what you did, William. And I know that this is something that will forever be with you, but it has made you a stronger young man and somebody that I know is an absolute testament to Saraville, that you're not going to go too far. Your family is wonderful, and I'm certain that the rest of the council is going to attest to the exact same thing. But you're an absolute amazing young man and a terrific son. Much love to you. So, at this time, I'm now going to pass the mic over to the rest of our council. And I will begin with our council president, Councilwoman Mar.
I can't even imagine being in that situation, but all I can say is that you have an angel looking down on you, and I hope that if I'm ever in that situation, that you're in the room so that you can spring into action again. It takes a true first responder for that to kick in, that natural ability. So, job well done. Congratulations.
I also just want to say, amazing what you were able to do under stress. Many adults can't do that, and you did. And you are going to do great things. And thank you for being a Boy Scout and just taking that step to be part of the community. Well done.
Many of you know, some of you don't. Laura Alfrey was my niece. She was only 45 years old. And she was a wonderful mother, active in so many things, fire departments, and she was even a Democratic committee woman. During COVID, she was the only one with me and Vince, my only family member, when we won the election that night. Billy, being an EMT myself, it puts a tremendous physical strain on the body to keep up CPR as long as you did. But as I said, he won an award with the Boy Scouts that I had the pleasure of being at and speaking at last week. One of the highest awards. It had to come down from national for his meritorious service. It's not something that's even given at a local level. He put so much into it while his heart was breaking. And in the beginning, he felt like he must have done something wrong. But I told him, I said, God needed Mommy more than you do right now, but she's looking down at you. And you know what I'm really looking forward to? Maybe becoming a cadet on the first aid squad. I'd love to see you on the back of an ambulance, and I know your mother would too. I love you.
Quite frankly, your award is a call to action for many of us to, have that inner strength and resolve, especially for, the unfortunate, unexpected moments, and of course to see your strength not just, on that day, but even moving forward. So I want to thank you for your courage and, encourage you to continue being strong and, knowing that whatever's to come, you already have the resolve to tackle it. And I'm sure your mom is proud of you, and she's going to continue to be proud of you for the strength you continue to show for yourself, for your family, and for our town. Thank you.
Mr. William, I'd like to appreciate you. Superheroes don't come in shape and size or form. They don't wear capes like we all do. but you are a wonderful superhero, not to this town, to your family, and I believe to the world at large. Go out there, go conquer. You own this world. We believe in you. Congratulations.
William, very impressed, very impressed. Such a young age, such a hero, so heroic, very impressed. Let this moment inspire you for the rest of your life. Really, let it inspire you. Your mom is looking down on you. Do some things that she'll be proud of for the rest of your life. You'll be so happy that you did. Congratulations.
So before we let you sit down, I will just ask for just a moment of silence in honor of your mom, Laura. And may she continue to look down upon you and make sure that all good things come your way. So please, just a moment of silence. Thank you all, and thank you to Laura for giving us such an amazing young man. Hugs again. You have an awesome big brother. Congratulations.
Can I shake your hand? Can I shake Hero's hand? Congratulations.
That's why I said it to him. He's 15. He can become a someday I'll get one. Thank you.
It's always nice to start a meeting, especially one that we're coming back to for such an honor. And thank you all for celebrating in that honor for William. We have no reason for executive session at this time. Can I have a motion, please, to accept the certificate for William Alfrey?
So moved.
Is there a second? Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Novak,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Enoha,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we'll have our public hearing on the following ordinances.
Ordinance number 01-22, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 3 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Sayreville to add Section 3-18, emergency standby compensation.
At this time, I will open to the public for any and all comments on ordinance number 01-22. If you wish to speak, please step to the microphone. Seeing none at this time, I will entertain a motion. Public Safety Committee Woman, Councilwoman June Forth.
I move the public hearing to be closed, the ordinance adopted on the second and final reading and advertised according to the law, ordinance 0-122.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons June 4,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Enoha,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Ladies and
To
gentlemen,
make a motion to approve the following appointments.
oh, excuse me. Am I able to, is Mike? Mike?
We've got a motion and a second. Making some appointments.
I was informed that after 30 days, they become council appointments.
I don't believe that that's accurate. I believe that those council appointments become active only after I've attempted to make an appointment, and that is when the time actually starts.
If I can make some changes, if I can, that is not accurate. Based on Title 40 plus traditional, what we've done here in the past, plus we do have an ordinance that it's 30 days upon vacancy.
Is there a vacancy?
The vacancy occurred, remember, the appointments run till December 31st. So vacancy occurred, in January, so it's 30 days from the first meeting in January. So based on Title 40, based on your Borough Code, I think that's 2-4. Matter of fact, if you recall, Mayor, you appointed me the last time with Kenny O'Brien after he didn't make an appointment in January. So at this point in time, It is a council appointment, whatever,
Do-
Ms.
Do I have the opportunity, I believe that when it comes to the agenda, as I'm going through it, is it customary for the mayor to just not have the opportunity to even speak on appointments?
Oh, no.
Or that the council president has the authority to turn around and interrupt the flow of the meeting until I have the opportunity to make the appointments in which I had planned to make?
No, your borough code, like you've done in the past, indicates that when the appointments aren't made, it's a council's appointment without discussion from the mayor. Council president can, I don't know what appointment she's making, but she can make those appointments that haven't been made. There's been a second, so if you want to make the appointments that you're moving forward, now's the time to do it. And then, Mayor, you still have the right to make whatever appointments are not made. So you can go ahead and, Council President.
So there's no opportunity for me at all to make an appointment prior to?
No, after 30 days, as we've done in the past, and you again appointed after 30 days with former Mayor O'Brien.
Yeah, no, I don't recall that, but that's
Yeah,
okay.
So
So-
they do have the right to make the appointments, so, Council President, you can go ahead and make
Jess,
your
do you want to go
appointments.
through individually? For Borough Attorney, Dupont, Higgins, and Stone? Roll call or list them all?
Yeah, do them one at a time.
Do them one at a time. All right, is there a second on that?
Yes, Mary seconded.
Okay. Just gonna bear with me.
Donna seconded.
Donna, okay.
On council,
Wait, we gotta do roll call. Councilpersons Mar,
yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
No.
Novak,
Yes.
Anoha,
No.
Roberts,
Yes.
On council, McCarter and English,
second.
Second.
Councilpersons Mar,
yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
No.
Novak,
Yes.
Anoha,
No.
Roberts,
Yes.
Financial advisor, NW Financial,
Second.
Councilpersons Mar,
yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
No.
Novak,
Yes.
Anoha,
No.
Roberts,
Yes.
Accounting services, PKF O'Connor Davies,
Second.
Councilpersons Mar,
yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
No.
Novak,
Yes.
Anoha,
No.
Roberts,
Yes.
Prosecutor Francis Womack,
Second.
Mar,
yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
No.
Novak,
Yes.
Anoha,
No.
Roberts,
Yes.
Public defender Roselli Roselli,
Second.
Councilpersons Mar,
yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
No.
Novak,
Yes.
Anoha,
No.
Roberts,
Yes.
Special counsel tax matters, James Nolan and Associates,
Second.
Councilpersons Mar,
yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
No.
Novak,
Yes.
Anoha,
No.
Roberts,
Yes.
Special counsel ABC matters, Antonelli Cantor PC,
Second.
Councilpersons Mar,
yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
No.
Novak,
Yes.
Anoha,
No.
Roberts,
Yes.
Special counsel rent leveling board, James Nolan and Associates,
Second.
Councilpersons Mar,
yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
No.
Novak,
Yes.
Anoha,
No.
Roberts,
Yes.
Special counsel other matters, Wiener Law Group, I'll put
Second.
should I give the alternate?
Yes.
Yes.
Alternate McMinimum, Scotland, and Bauman.
Second.
Councilpersons Mar,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
No.
Novak,
Yes.
Enoha,
No.
Roberts,
Yes.
Litigation Counsel, McMinimum, and Dakotas, Fitzpatrick, Cole, and Giblin.
Second.
It's two.
Second and second.
Councilpersons Mar,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
No.
Novak,
Yes.
Enoha,
No.
Roberts,
Yes.
Special Counsel, Water Matters, Dakotas, Fitzpatrick, Cole, and Giblin.
Second. Did we do municipal planner?
What do we have for planner?
Fire and Gruel.
Iron Gruel.
Yep.
We're in the middle.
Second.
Mar, Councilpersons Mar,
Yes.
Conti,
What is this for, this hire and gruel we're saying?
yes, the planner.
Yes.
This one's not right.
June 4,
No.
Novak,
Yes.
Enoha,
No.
Roberts.
Yes.
Okay, and then Special Counsel Water Matters, you said?
Special Counsel, Water Matters, Dakotas, Fitzpatrick, Cole, and Giblin.
Second.
Councilpersons Mar,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
No.
Novak,
Yes.
Enoha,
No.
Roberts.
Yes.
The Architect, USA Architects.
Second.
Councilpersons Mar,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
No.
Novak,
Yes.
Enoha,
No.
Roberts.
Yes.
And then the Board of Adjustments, Anthony Esposito to 4-year member, reappoint Phil Emma, alternate 1, Anthony Bella, alternate 2, Gary Cady.
Latanzi.
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 Okay, Councilpersons Mar,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
No.
Novak,
Yes.
Enoha,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Commission on Aging.
Commission on, we got more.
I see.
Chesky.
Kenneth Olszewski, 3-year member, and Patricia Dunn, 3-year non-voting member.
And Joan Lahaka.
Oh, yeah, Joan.
She'll have to.
Joan?
Joan, yep.
And Joan Lahaki, 3-year member.
Second.
Councilpersons Mar,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Enoha,
No.
Roberts.
Yes.
So even if I didn't make an appointment, because we just got those in, it comes out of the hands of the mayor? Those aren't out 30 days, we just got those in.
Mike?
It's 30 days from vacancy, so the question is, on the one that you just did, was there a vacancy? Mr. Olszewski, I believe that there was a vacancy.
Well, I couldn't appoint somebody that didn't put in their paperwork for it.
I know his was in.
Oh, maybe I missed it, I like Ken, so there'd be no reason not to appoint him.
His was
For
in.
the others, though, I don't believe they were in.
Board of Adjustment,
Well, maybe that one, I mean, I have my reasons, you know, they can
those
turn
ones
around.
were- yeah,
No, I'm
those-
talking about the ones that we're moving through now. Are you moving through the ones within the packet?
No,
Which ones?
Yeah, Commission on Aging and stuff, wasn't that what?
Yeah.
They just came in, right?
Which ones?
And, well, Ken's was here, Patricia Dunn, I don't know, was her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a non-voting member, and she's a reappointment.
yeah, listen, I don't have an issue. All I'm asking is that those within the packet, if I don't, you know, some of them were not put in order to make the appointment. So
The appointment's still been vacant since January 1st.
Well, you can't appoint somebody that didn't get put into the position. That's fine. I just want to make sure that the individuals know that did place their application currently within this packet for today. I would like to make your appointment, just to make sure that they would all go in, and I appreciate the fact that you're looking to volunteer and serve within the town. It appears that Council President Marr would like to turn around and make those appointments. I hope that she makes all the appointments within the packet. However, apparently at this point, I've lost that ability to do so, which I don't believe is accurate. But I would like to say for all of those members that did place their application in here, which I did review, have read through, and quite frankly, just about every single one of them in here, with the exception of possibly maybe one, I would have appointed you to your volunteer position that you are requesting. Councilwoman Marr, you may continue if you so choose.
I believe I have one left. Edna,
We have Shade Tree. There's appointments.
okay.
It's a mayor's.
Shade Tree is the mayor's appointment.
Yes, that's after.
Okay. Yep, Recreation.
Those are all that have just been placed in, I believe.
Are you
There's
doing
two-
Shade Tree first, or no?
No, please continue.
Okay, so Recreation Board, I have Edward Grella and Edno Changi.
Okay. Councilpersons Mar. Conti.
Who were the names? Trella?
Edward Grella and Edna Changi on Recreation Advisory.
Yes.
June 4.
No.
Novak.
Yes.
Anoha.
No.
Roberts.
Yes.
The historian.
I don't know if they received that email. I know that it was addressed specifically to me. Was it addressed to the entire council? So,
Frank Terezino, local historian.
Second?
Councilpersons Mar.
Yes.
Conti.
Yes.
June 4.
No.
Novak.
Yes.
Anoha.
No.
Roberts.
Yes.
Community Block Grant.
Yep.
Karen Bailey Beavert.
Councilpersons Mar.
Yes.
Conti.
Which one is this for? I can't hear that side of the room.
Community.
CDBG, appointing Karen Biebert.
Yes.
June 4.
No.
Novak.
Yes.
Anoha.
Quick question for you. Is there an amount of committees one is allowed to be a part of? No.
Roberts.
Yes.
And liaison to the Board of Ed.
Ed Robert Boutellette.
Second?
Councilpersons Mar.
Yes.
Conti.
Yes.
June 4.
No.
Novak.
Yes.
Anoha.
No.
Roberts.
Yes.
That was at the last meeting. Yes. Okay, yeah. Yep, they all moved over to the right. All right, you don't have it, okay. It should be. Oh, yep, they all, yep.
okay, moving on. I do have a couple of appointments I would like to make. Before though, I would like to read the letter that was forwarded over to us from the Historical Society in reference to appointing a borough historian, and this is by President Art Rittenhouse of the Saraville Historical Society. He did state that the Saraville Historical Society is recommending to the mayor a person to be the borough historian, and this is a mayoral appointment. So at this time, I would like to actually make the appointment official, because that is what the legal manner in which you have to do these things. So the position has been open since 2018, so I'm excited to turn around and make the appointment of Mr. Frank Terezino Sr. The reason for that is because if you know Frank, first of all, he had graduated from the Saraville High School in 1971. He is a member of the American Legion Post 211 Honor Guard. He is a lifelong resident of Saraville and the vice president of the Saraville Historical Society. And I do know that everybody knows who Frank is, at least on social media, because anything relating to the history of Saraville, Frank is on there 110%. And quite often, he's also giving props to our DPW road department in tough times when the weather is looking bad. So I think many of us already know Frank, at least from a social media footprint, if not in person. Frank bleeds Saraville and Bomber blue, and that is 100% true. He has presented great programs for the Historical Society. He, along with another person, film all of the Bomber football games as well. He searches high and low for items to be displayed at the Saraville Historical Society Museum. To say that this is a passion would be an underestimation of exactly what he feels and how much he loves this town. So it is my honor to serve in my mayoral duties to appoint Frank Terezino Sr. as borough historian. At this point, I would now like an official motion, so that way we can legally accept this as an appointment from the mayor. So is there a second?
I motion it.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please. I'm sorry, you can say so moved, and then we'll need a second.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons June 4,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Novak. Yes. Anoha,
Yes.
Roberts.
Moving forward with some appointments, we also have to the Shade Tree Commission, Edward Grellis Jr. Is there?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call. If it's a mayoral appointment, I don't think you even need to go through that. So it's not necessary. That's correct.
And you're putting him where?
Shade Tree Commission.
I know, but what,
You know what?
there's only an alternate one or two.
Let's do alternate one. That's fine, I have it.
Okay.
Which there is also another Shade Tree Commission, that would be Anne Marie Kolb, also then for alternate number 2, because I do think those are,
She's a 5-year member,
she's the 5-year member, that's right. So they still have an alternate available,
an alternate too.
an alternate 2. I do not see another letter, though, for an alternate 2, so we'll see if that comes
There was
up.
a Michael, who we held off the last time.
We did hold off, that's right, we were waiting, so absolutely. We can
Alternate
move that.
two?
Alternate 2.
Okay, Kalachi.
I did think that we had made that appointment.
Yeah, you
but-
wanted to wait until,
Yeah.
Kolb was, yeah.
Okay, I do believe that that was all of the appointments left within that packet. Let's see, actually, and you, just to verify, Recreation Board, that was Edna Ocheng was appointed. I was pulling them as needed.
Yes, and Edward Grella.
And Edward Gorella was also appointed to that. Just making sure.
Yes, there were several ones that I checked with the director over there that are no longer interested.
Very good. Robert, I would also like to say congratulations to you for being named our Borough Council Liaison to the Board of Education. I do believe that we have another position for that
There's still one more.
as well. So thank you again for your service as well. Keep on walking, keep on marching. I'll be at the next one, provided it's not sub-freezing. I missed you by a little bit last time, so thank you. Let's move on then. At this point, we're moving to the clerk to report on the supplemental debt statement.
Yes, I'd just like to report that I received a supplemental debt statement received from CFO Denise Biancamano as of February 14, 2022. I need a motion.
Can we have a motion, please, to accept? Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Novak. Yes. Conti.
Yes.
June 4.
Yes.
Mar.
Yes.
Anoha.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Okay, introduction of the following ordinance, ordinance number 02-22, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 7 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Saraville to amend Section 7-16.7, Schedule F, permit only parking streets.
That will be Public Safety Committee, Councilwoman June Four.
Thank you. I move the ordinance to be approved on the first reading, advertised according to the law, and public hearing to be held February 28, 2022.
February.
Yeah.
February.
She said January. That's-
Second?
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons June 4,
Yes.
Conti,
Just had a question. Was there an opportunity to, I know we amended this, we had the issue on certain streets where there wasn't an ordinance to limit the parking. Did we need to address that as well, Dan, in this here? Because, the Sergeant Braille had said there's no
This is for
ordinance.
school drive.
It's just school drive, this one particular is.
Yeah, I know that, but since we were doing permit-only parking, and I know we had some concerns about some other areas, would that have been something we could have incorporated into this? No? Okay, okay.
Since we bring up a good point, I had requested that Sergeant Brill start attending our meetings because it's now appears that every meeting we have a question that needs his immediate response. So, Ms. Dan, if you could, in the future, make sure that Sergeant Brill attends either in person or via phone.
Yeah,
I
and
think
he
it's
had-
important that
Yeah,
he
that's what I'm saying.
answer the questions that every meeting there's something.
I just have one question. Was this discussed with everybody that lives on the street? Because in the past, sometimes we had problems because people don't want to have to come in and get permits for their cars. And then if they have company, there's no permits for their cars. Was all of this discussed with the people?
I would think that this was actually an issue that was probably brought before the Board of Education, because I believe where the issue is that there.
The residents,
No, I know, I'm talking about that.
it really affects them. They
I think it's the actual residents that brought this to our table as a result of the parking that is going
And
on.
it's sign only, they're not coming into our offices for a permit, this is a sign only. Mary,
I'm just saying.
They'll
if
scan
they have a
their-
company that's actually visiting them, how will the police
they can call the dispatch and let them know that somebody's staying over.
Oh, okay, as long as they're, aware of that, because it's difficult to enforce if we're not gonna have permits on the cars.
All right, so I'm a yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Anoha,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Introduction of ordinance number 03-22, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 7 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Saraville to amend Section 7-4.1, trucks over 4 tons excluded from certain streets.
Thank you. I move the ordinance to be approved on the first reading, advised according to the law, and public hearing to be held on February 28, 2022.
Second?
Councilpersons June 4,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Anoha,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Introduction of ordinance number 04-22, calendar year 2022, ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank.
Admin and Finance Committee, Councilwoman Novak, please.
Yes, I make a motion that the ordinance be approved on first reading at passed according to law, and public hearing be held on February 28th.
Second?
Councilpersons Novak, Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Anoha,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Bond ordinance number 05-22, bond ordinance providing for well maintenance and redevelopment in, by, and for the Borough of Saraville, New Jersey, appropriating $650,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $650,000 bonds or notes of the borough for financing part of such appropriation.
Councilwoman Novak, please.
Move the motion be approved on first reading at passed according to law, and public hearing be held on February 28th.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Novak,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4.
I'm sorry, can we please go over this? What is this about, please?
Explain. She wants to go over it. Okay, Jay.
Mayor, at the last meeting, we indicated that we had received bids for the annual contract for maintaining the wells at the Duerna water field. So this appropriates the money to allow that contract to be awarded. It's something that's done every year.
And we received money?
We received public bids for the work.
Okay, so this is not coming out of the town's budget or anything?
It's going
It
to
is.
come out- It's going to be a bond ordinance where you're appropriating the funding to award that contract.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes. Mar.
Yes.
Enoha.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Ordinance number 06-22, an ordinance amending Chapter 17 Parks and Recreational Areas of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Saraville.
Councilwoman Mark, please. Council President Mark, please.
I move the ordinance.
I'm sorry, Mayor. This is the Parks and Rec. I'm sorry, Mayor, I forgot to remind you. If you could just pull it, I just needed to revise a couple things on it that I pointed out that didn't include in my second revision, so if you could just table that, if someone could table that. Right.
Make a motion to table.
Second.
Councilpersons Mar.
Yes.
Conti.
Yes.
June 4.
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Enoha.
Table to the next meeting?
Probably, yeah. You just have to put the fees in there.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
At this time, we're going to move forward to the consent agenda resolutions. Anybody from the public which has any questions regarding consent agenda resolutions only may come up.
Hi, Taylor Bernosky, 71 Pulaski Ave. I was wondering if anyone would be able to provide more detail on Resolution 2022-44. It's the last in the list. I was looking earlier over the agenda, and I was trying to just do research to find out about the media company, but I couldn't seem to find anything on Google or LinkedIn. And just saw that there was another contract awarded in May 2020, and that it seemed to be a business that was formed 2 weeks later. So I just wanted to see if there's any details surrounding this and what that entails for the borough.
I'll defer over to Mr. Frankel. I know that the last one that we did was in reference to, I believe, our website design that was under the advice of, that you were referencing. Was that the website design that was a couple of?
I don't, are you asking about this?
It was labeled under the May 11th, 2020 meeting under, it wasn't social media.
I think that
that
was the
was the
first, I
first
believe that's the
contract,
first
yeah.
contract we had with this company.
Yes.
Right. So this is a contract that we had with them for $2,000 a month to our social media. We've continued this contract, and with a fair and non-open contract, we are continuing, or asking the council to continue this contract in 2022.
Okay, what does social media entail for the town? Because I know like we only have presence on Facebook that makes
Well,
maybe 4 to 5 posts a month with very low engagement.
Well, that was something, we never had a social media platform or really any outreach to the public prior to me becoming the mayor. So in 2020, we brought on a social media group because we did not have a Facebook page. We did not have any way to reach out to our borough residents. We did not have an email blast. Really, the only way that we were able to communicate was through the Nixle or through the Saraville Police page. So one of the big things that I wanted to accomplish as mayor, and thankfully we were able to get that off the ground prior to COVID-19 happening, otherwise we would have had no way to contact anybody, was we brought in the social media group that we're talking about here, and this individual runs our Facebook page. She also communicates and works with our directors of each and every department, so that way all the borough departments, so that way that she can also communicate through social media with that. In addition to that, we also created something called the Borough Blast. It was mimicked and basically mirrored what the Board of Education did with their Bomber Blast, which is why we came up with the Borough Blast. We were able to actually work with the Board of Education slightly. when I was meeting with Dr. Labby early on in my mayorship. And he was able to give us some advice on how to gather, I think we're somewhere around 10,000 residents now or more that are signed up to receive our Borough Blast. So we can send out information that way as well. And each year, each day, we do get more and more people. So we're looking to expand that as much as possible to continue our outreach, because the more people are informed on what's going on in the town, the better chance we have of people getting involved. And I think you're seeing that with the number of volunteers that have decided to sign up for our committees. This has to be the most engaged our community has been for service, and part of me wants to thank probably our newest council people for that, because it's my understanding many people have been motivated as a result of even our first meeting up here. So thank you for that. Did that take care of it? And she's also, I believe, helping our director in technology department, one person to try and help us redesign our webpage as well.
Oh, because that was going to be my next.
That was, because that's
the website is a disaster.
That is I
For
don't
a
want to
young person, I
say
have
it.
really trouble navigating.
I don't want to
it.
say hot mess. That's not the right way to say it, but it is definitely behind the curve when it comes to what municipal sites should look like and how they should function. So we ramped our Saraville Borough into the 21st century. Well, let's not get that wild. Let's say, we're not in
Early
1970s
2000s.
anymore. We're moving up. We're moving up in the world.
And we recently won an award for I Stay Home for Saraville, and
Yes.
she's made critical videos about how to submit a service request that I push at every meeting instead of complaining on Facebook. And she's been quite instrumental in,
Yeah.
all avenues. Anyway, we.
That was exciting, because the first year, within a handful of months of us bringing on somebody to do social media, we won an award in this town for the I Stay Home for Saraville campaign that we actually were able to bring in other towns for. So that was huge. That kind of made me feel like we're on the right track here.
And she also created the banner for the Saraville Community Garden page and helped me navigate the community garden page,
The graduates.
graduates.
If we do set up, or improve our technology board, would they, have more of a role with this contractor?
That I don't know, because I think we currently don't have a technology board. But that is something that I think we need to talk to Tom Bracken about. It's something that I really would like to entertain. One of the things that I've learned in talking to Tom, because IT is not my thing, that there can be some issues regarding securities and things like that when it comes to technology. Yeah. So I would always defer over to Tom, and I think he would be instrumental in helping lead us with how to truly form a real technology board that will have defined goals and abilities and insights that our municipality can safely help support.
Okay.
So.
May I make a suggestion? Yeah, I don't know if she would be able to actually go to active adult center, but if she could send something in writing, perhaps post, because the active adults aren't always that hip, and being shown how to sign up for these classes.
Yeah.
Might be very helpful.
Yeah, I think that would be a great thing to do.
Is the Borough Blast separate from the Nixle replacement?
Yes.
Yes,
How
absolutely.
does one sign up for the Saraville Blast?
To the Borough Blast, I believe the sign up is actually online on our webpage,
Okay.
so you can directly go to the webpage. All you have to do is put your email address in there, your contact, and I think there might be one other piece of information, and then that automatically adds you to that Borough Blast mass email.
Okay.
So anything that we send out anything from state, local, county information, happenings, really we try to streamline it, not necessarily to be like a daily thing, like if a police emergency, that is going to be handled through them. But these are the happenings, the boroughs,
Okay.
all kinds of stuff.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah. So
Taylor, if you're questioning the level of engagement, then Dan, maybe we can put a concrete number of how many posts are done per month so that we have a measurable goal.
yeah. I will say.
Because I know from being a musician that Facebook pages, like similar to the town, that Facebook really tries to disengage the audience, that when you put a post, probably nobody sees it. You could see the bar on there because Facebook wants to monetize on it, so that's probably maybe Instagram or other, you know.
Facebook is for old people, I hear it
Yeah,
all the
Facebook
But the
time.
problem
is
is
for
that
old
Hear
Facebook
it all the time. My students.
purposely don't show your posts.
That is one of the
So
things that
they
we
want
talked.
to make money, so they purposely, it
Yeah.
doesn't come up on your feeds.
Right.
You'll see that out of, I think, the 4,500 people that follow the Cerebral page,
Right.
maybe only 100 saw it.
I don't even know, do we have a Twitter?
Well, that was one of the things that we talked about when we first brought on this group. We wanted to start slow because many times what you saw, and being that it is one individual, one of the things that you saw with many municipalities, they opened up all these social media platforms, but they couldn't manage them. So one of the things that you don't want is to turn around and have a lot of social media platforms out there, but them not being run effectively. So we wanted to start small, hit the old people as first, and then build on that. So those are, I believed in the idea of starting in my case, 4-year plan. Because I can't look beyond what elections will bring. So my 4-year plan started immediately was trying to engage with communications. And we've slowly improved there. Twitter is possibly one area that we can hit, but I think that right now, the media group has actually taken on a bigger role with now engaging the other departments. So we actually have more content coming out. So slow and steady, but in Cerebral, this was fast and furious.
And we only hired part-time. Most other towns have a full-time employee for this
Yes.
position.
So,
Most direct way would be the Borough Blast for now, though.
yeah, the Borough Blast is really, I think, a beneficial tool. I'm not a social media girl. I think I've made that clear about 1,000,000 times, so I do not have Facebook. But it's amazing how somebody that does not have Facebook gets so many screenshots and text messages of exactly what's on Facebook. So I never even have to have a social media footprint to really know what's going on, which is kind of funny to me, that everybody thinks it's such a secure site, and my page is private. No, it's not, trust me. I probably have screenshots of something you put up too. But yeah, Julie has been doing a pretty good job, I think. Anything else, Taylor?
That's all.
All
Thank
right,
you.
I'll see you in the next round then. Anybody else have comments about our social media, not our social media, about our,
Consent agenda, but.
about our agenda and resolutions? Hi, Mr. Smith, just name and address for the record, please.
Sure, Jeff Smith, 185 Grove Street. I'm also assistant captain of Morgan First Aid, but not speaking in that capacity to, which one was it, 2228. That was awarding the annual radio system pager maintenance. While I do agree that the maintenance needs to continue, I would just like to say that this is not the system that fire, first aid, and police in this town initially wanted. This is a problem that, as a EMS member in this community, I have issues with the current system that we have, with battery life, with interoperability with other communities. I can't talk to South Amboy, I can't talk to Perth Amboy. I have dead spots in my radio near Winding Woods. That maybe we need to look to the end of this contract and moving on to a better system that is more interoperable within our county. That's really just a comment on that.
Thanks.
And I'm not sure if this is the time to ask about 2245.
If it's on there, you can, 2245, hold on, let me say, no, not yet, we
Okay.
didn't get there yet. but
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll come back to that.
Couple seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public wish to speak on consent agenda resolutions only? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion to accept consent agenda resolutions.
I'd like to close the public portion, and are we doing roll call vote?
You gotta, to accept the consent agenda resolutions.
I accept the consent agenda resolutions and move to adopt.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Mar,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes, but I'll be abstaining on 26 and 27.
Anoha,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a couple of comments, because there were questions. Number 2022-38, the BKD LLC site plan is the previous Deco Lounge on Route 35. There's a variance to build 44 townhomes. This is not to build the townhomes, it is just to have the zoning for the sewer and water that we're approving. So there were questions. I know that people had about what that exactly was. And the Main Street extension, I just had a question on granting the exception to permit the opening of Main Street in 3 years. Is that an early or is that a later? Jay, I'm sorry, I didn't ask you that when we spoke earlier.
This was a request that came in from the developer of the Riverton project. He has to run a 12-inch water line across the Main Street extension. There's an MCUA force main in that area, and there's concern that if he didn't open cut it, he may damage the force main, which we don't want to have. We had a problem in the past with that. So that was actually, there was some correspondence in your package at the last meeting, and there was no objection from our standpoint to that proposal.
Okay, thank you. So, yes.
Okay, does that bring us to the end then?
I got the resolution.
Yes, that's what I mean, the resolution. So next we'll have our resolution read in full. Jessica?
Resolution 2022-45, whereas the Borough of Sayreville desires to apply for and obtain a grant from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs for approximately $1 million to carry out a project to expand the Jerry Us Recreation Complex by adding 1 baseball and 1 softball field. Now therefore it be resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Sayreville that the Borough of Sayreville does hereby authorize the application for such a grant and recognizes and accepts that the department may offer a lesser or greater amount, and therefore, upon receipt of the grant agreement from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs, does further authorize the execution of any such grant agreement, and also upon receipt of the fully executed agreement from the department, does further authorize the expenditure of funds pursuant to the terms of the agreement between the Borough of Sayreville and the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. Be it further resolved that the persons whose names, titles, and signatures appear below are authorized to sign the application, and that they are or their successors in said titles are authorized to sign the agreement and any other documents necessary in connection therewith.
I will open to the public for any and all comments regarding this resolution. Please step forward. Jim?
Jim's gonna ask the same questions I'm gonna ask, so.
Thank you, Mayor. Jim Robinson, 11 Burrell Square. And I want to comment on this resolution. This is very similar to a resolution that Councilwoman Roberts proposed in 2020. That was Resolution 2020-90 that had to do with $500,000 for Bailey Park. I'll talk about that next, but I want to find out the status of that. But I saw in CentralJersey.com a couple weeks ago, they ran a story, and something stood out to me, and I'll quote it. It said, Palando, and that's Tom Palando, the president of Sayreville Athletic Association, said that the organization has been approved for a $1.5 million grant to build 2 turf fields at the town soccer complex on Bordentown Avenue that will be used by the Sayreville War Memorial High School program as well. Now we're applying for a $1 million grant.
So first of all, that's incorrect. It's a town grant, not for the AA. So we also, it would be used
What's
by
incorrect?
all. You said the article said that Orlando said the organization received the grant, the town received the grant. We have Little League here as well tonight to, everyone would have access to that
Okay.
field.
So Mr. Palando was incorrect?
It was reported incorrectly,
I'm sorry? It was a quote. It was a direct quote.
not from the borough.
Okay, all right, so, but that's not correct.
It's not, that wasn't correct.
All right, now,
So I
So-
don't know of any organization that can receive a grant on behalf of the borough.
I don't either. I was
I don't-
surprised at that.
I don't
Okay.
know. I've
Okay.
received a lot of comments and questions and calls about it. And an organization cannot receive a municipal grant.
Okay, so this is one and the same grant. There wasn't a $1.5 million grant for fields and this grant, which we're now applying for fields, right?
Is that the other?
Wait. Hold on. Only elected officials can speak. That's who's being addressed. So your question again is, did we receive a $1.5 million grant?
Was there a $1.5 million grant?
Not to my knowledge. Does anybody up here know of a $1.5 million grant?
I'll get the specifics from our grant writer.
I know we
have-
did not
we have-
receive a
We
1.5.
have not received $1.5 million for the turf fields in the Jerry Ust complex. Repeat, we have not received it.
So they haven't been approved for $1.5 million, as was indicated. Okay.
We submitted for it.
But this resolution will allow us to apply for not 1.5 million, but 1 million
This is a
for a
different one.
softball and baseball field. Okay, now, a few years ago, with great fanfare, we talked about the $1.5 million we got for Veterans Field. We didn't emphasize that we had to borrow or bond an additional 1.5 million for that. Is this a deal that is going to cost us $2 million like that?
It's my understanding
$1.5 million?
this is not a matching funds grant. When we got that from the county,
Yeah.
it was matching funds.
Yeah.
Whatever they gave us, we had.
Yes.
It's my understanding that this is not a match.
So this is not a matching fund grant? Okay,
So to your question is,
all right.
how much is this going to cost?
That's what I want to know.
I don't think we have that. Jay, do we know how much these fields are going to cost?
Well, if we're applying for $1 million, where did that $1 million figure come from? Is it,
The one,
No, it's my assumption, I could be wrong, Dan, am I wrong in saying that it's a grant that's out there, $1 million, and that's why we're.
so we just picked a number?
we,
Is that where it came from?
may I, Mayor?
You may. I understand his question. Where is this grant and is this a
And where
$1
did we
million?
come up with the figure of $1 million?
Where did we come up with $1 million?
We have worked with our 19th Assembly and Senate legislators.
Yeah,
They have been kind enough when we ask them for projects that we need money for. They have put in for us to try and get that money.
yeah.
And this money was $1 million, was what the legislators had put in to help us with a grant that is not a matching grant.
Okay. Thank you for that, but however, my question was, and during the public portion, I'll talk about
Mayor, it's 5 minutes.
the legislative
It's okay.
assistance for grants, which I appreciate. We get a lot of grants for ball fields, we don't get a lot of grants for roads, and I think that's a priority. But
Jim,
my
I
question
did-
was, where did that $1 million figure come from?
Mr. Robinson, I did inform you of a few $1 million in road grants that we received within the past few years.
We get at least one grant every year.
Yeah, and as I indicated to you, that pales in comparison to this. But anyway, what I'm talking about now is where did that $1 million figure come from?
That is a good question. It's my understanding that there's some communication between state or county officials regarding where this $1 million figure came from.
The state legislators are able to afford money to the borough, and $1 million.
I understand the legislative process, Mr. Frankel. My question is, and I apologize if I wasn't clear, I'll ask it one more time. How did we come up with the $1 million figure? I understand the legislative process. I worked for the legislature.
The borough did not come up with a $1 million figure.
It's what they're offering.
So the legislators decided or determined it'll cost $500,000 a field.
Incorrect, sir.
Then where did the number come from?
The number was an amount to help the borough with the fields. It wasn't a number that for $1 million, we are going to get 2 turf fields. So it was a number that was given to us through the work of the legislators to help us with the turf fields.
Mr. Robinson, just to
All
justify.
right, let me ask it this way then. Do we know what those 2 fields will cost?
I'll defer over to Jay. At this point, do we know how much 2 turf fields will cost the borough?
The project is not only 2 turf fields, it's parking lot improvements as well. And the total cost for the entire project is approximately $5 million.
$500,000.
$5 million.
$5 million.
The entire project. 2 turf fields,
The
lights,
en-
parking lot improvements, detention facilities, the entire project.
Wait, is that an additional 5 million we'll be spending there?
I'm not saying how much you're spending. You asked what the total project cost is. There's a conceptual plan and detailed plans for 2 additional turf fields and parking lot improvements at the Jerry S. Complex. Total cost for that overall project is approximately $5 million.
Is $5 million, and we're getting $1 million from the state. So that's going to cost us even more than that ball field cost us. If it's a $5 million
So, Mr.
project, and
Robinson,
we're getting $1 million,
thank you for bringing that up. We have a turf football field. We have a turf
Yeah.
soccer field. We do not have turf baseball fields.
I understand
All
that.
of the surrounding towns
Well-
around us have turf baseball fields. South Amboy is currently in the process. The last grant that we
that's a
received was
$5 million
2018,
project?
4
Now-
years ago.
has this $5 million project gone before the planning board
Not to
as
my
is
knowledge.
required?
It was presented to the planning board when there was a discussion about a grant application. So yes, the planning
Okay.
board did speak about this. And
All right.
just concerning the overall project, it can be built in phases. So the borough doesn't necessarily have to build the entire project at once. You could go through and build one field with the amount of money that's available.
Okay, thank you, Jay. That was a very helpful answer. Do we know, if we don't have to build the entire thing, do we know what the 2 fields will cost? Or what 1 field will cost?
One field, approximately $1.5 to $2 million.
1 field,
It's adjacent, the first field is adjacent to the existing parking lot, so you could build that field and use the existing
Mhm.
parking lot. The second field is farther away, so you would need to have additional parking if you built that second field.
okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
That's a lot of money. I'm not commenting subjectively, but $1 million or $1.5 million or $5 million. A lot of
Mr.
money.
Robinson,
I
when
see
the
maybe why
children
we're raising the
ask-
cap.
When the children ask, who would you choose first, the boys' field or the girls' field? We need 2
Are you
fields,
kidding me?
a baseball and a softball field.
I
Well,
would
most turf fields can accommodate both.
Yeah. I'd prefer that before we spend $5 million, and I want to say this, unless I had asked that question, I don't think everybody would know that we're talking about a $5 million project because we're applying for a $100,000 grant that we may or may not get, and I'll talk about that during the public portion. So when Mr. Palando talks about 1.5 million, he is closer to the truth than,
Well, one of the things we are investigating, so we have the $1 million here, that other $500,000, have we figured out where that is? Because.
well, that's not on this, respectfully, Mayor,
Yeah, I
that's
can
not on
ask.
this resolution, and I do want to
I
speak to
can
that
ask.
under the public portion,
I can ask.
okay?
I
All right,
can ask.
thank you very much.
I understand that's not on the public portion, but, or under this, but do we know where that $500,000 is?
It's in the cultural,
Mayor,
Well-
if you're going to open it up to that, then I would like to ask my question about that,
I-
Mr. Frankel's
I believe I can open
annoyance
it up for a question,
notwithstanding.
but, what I'll do right now is, we
Why
can
don't
vote
you
on the
just hold your
resolution
comments?
first.
Okay,
And then
thank
I will
you.
make my comments in reference to that.
Okay.
I will ask that question rather than wait for the public. At this time, if anybody else would like to speak on Resolution 2022-45, please step up. Just state your name and address for the record. Come on up, Mr. Corbin. I had a feeling. I can't see the,
You got it, it's part of my duty.
I understand.
6 Evelyn Terrace. I would probably make one recommendation to this resolution. Don't call it a softball field and a baseball field. There's no difference between a baseball field and a softball. If you're playing 46-60 on baseball, you could play softball. That way, you don't have to build a girls' field and a boys' field. You're just gonna build 2 baseball fields.
Did you read my mind when I said that comment? It doesn't matter. When you
Yeah,
go
no,
turf,
I-
it doesn't matter.
just-
I'm not a softball parent,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Yeah, that would be my recommendation, to just avoid that whole, you know, because if you're gonna wind up building one field first, just build a small field, you know, I don't know if everybody knows besides Ms. Moore, 46-60 is what Little League, kids
Yeah.
under 12 play. 60-90 is what 13-year-old boys play. So, and girls can play on the 46-60 field. You can use that for softball. So that would be just my quick recommendation. On behalf of Sayreville Little League, we're always for building more baseball fields. You know, we want to keep growing the sport between lacrosse and some of these other sports that are coming in. It's, you know, it's getting harder and harder to get kids off Xbox and PlayStation and actually out on green grass or even fake green grass. So, you know, something new. I know there's buzz about the fields that are going down in South Amboy, so it would be great to create some buzz here in town. So that's it.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate that. All right, any other comments for, come on up.
I was trying to build on what Little League said, and not just the 46-60 fields, but
I'm sorry, go ahead,
Bob with
Robert.
the 7 Tyler Street in Morgan Section, Sayreville, all right? Our high school baseball field is a disaster. So is our varsity softball field. They're disasters. I played on them. I've coached on them. They're a disgrace.
Agreed.
I mean, we have
The
teams
JV
playing down
field's
in the
even
Borough
worse.
Hall. Yeah,
Baseball needs
they're
some
playing
love.
internationally. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, you know, just asking you all, find some way to make all that happen. Okay, it has to get done. all right?
Thanks, Robert.
All right.
Todd, come on up.
I'll try to put this in perspective. A year ago,
Name and address.
Tom Palando, 29 Gisby Terrace. A year ago, we, from the state, we were supposed to get $1.5 million. Then recently, we didn't find the $1.5 million. Is that correct? Or we never got it? And we never got it?
I think we're still waiting to hear the submission period,
right.
was at
Okay.
the end of January.
So Jimmy,
talks with our
right.
grant
So Jimmy is right. There was the $1.5 million we were supposed to get. And recently, the state called us and we're getting an additional $1 million. So all total, there will be $2.5 million if we get the
If
other
we get the grant.
1.5 and that other. Plus, if that 500,000, that's it. But look, I agree with the Little League. You know, the high school, the JV fields, we have 50 men's softball teams playing spring and in the fall. And you know what? We have a beautiful turf soccer field, beautiful football field, and baseball and softball deserves it as well. Not to take anything away from the roads, but I saw, you know, Michelle's, you know, messages on Facebook, and I believe over the last couple of years, we're doing a great job on the roads.
And those were just the grants, not in total of what we've spent on roads.
Correct. So maybe what we could do is come out with exactly how much money we've been putting into roads.
I believe it's on our website.
It's on our
It's
website.
on our website.
You know offhand, so maybe Mr. Robinson, I don't know, Jimmy, what it is. I don't.
You get more for one than the other.
Okay.
Macomb Avenue was done with CDBG
Right.
grant. Pulaski Avenue,
Right.
we got two $500,000 grants to do that. South Minisink, we're gonna be doing, that's a grant. So we are getting grants for roads, almost every year we get a grant. And sometimes, like I said, the year we got the CDGB and in MacArthur was also.
For the record, just trying to keep with the agenda for a second here, before we start talking about roads, and the person that I would defer over to in reference to grants on roads would probably be Ms. Bianca Mano, who more than likely knows the most about this. You don't by any chance know how many grants we've received when it comes to our roads offhand?
I don't, but I almost can
And
attest
ballpark
that.
it?
I believe we have for at least the time I've been here, so the last 4 years, I believe Ernst was, what, about 450?
I think it's about 2 million, because that's what I had told Mr. Robinson. We've received 4,
It was a million just there.
and it's about 2 million's worth.
It's typically about $500,000 each year the
Yes.
borough gets
Yeah.
from the state trust fund.
So, in the interest of keeping with our meeting, thanks Denise. in the interest of keeping with our meeting, let's just try and stick to our resolution before we turn around and close public, and then we turn around and open up to public for the rest of comments.
So I just wanted to straighten it out because 1.5 was, we were supposed to get it, okay, then it's somewhere out there, and I know that the legislators are looking for it where it is, and then they just told us we were getting another $1 million. If that comes about, then there would be $2.5 million, and then you had the other 500,000 with the Bailey Park, correct?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Jim Robinson, 11 Burrell Square. I thank Mr. Palando for his explanation, but it raised another question, because he said we are getting $1.5 million. We talked about $1.5 million. I asked the clerk if there was anything on record about any grants for the soccer field, and the answer was no. So when did we apply for that 1.5? Who is the we that talked to the state, to the governing body, apply for that 1.5? And if that 1.5 was done before this 1 million, we should know about that, and there should be records on that. So
The 1.5 is with our grant writer that I've been communicating with, and there is emails back and forth
Well-
regarding that.
When is the closing date?
Let me find the email. Or it just passed. I think
on
yours
which?
passed.
On the 1.5?
On the 1.5.
Now, did this council pass a resolution to apply for the 1.5 million?
We apply for all grants,
I'm
whatever
sorry?
pie in the sky, whatever grants we
I
apply
appreciate
for.
that, but my specific question was, did the council apply for a grant for that $1.5 million that Mr. Palando said we are getting, that is going to be in addition to the 1 million? I think it's wonderful. And just so that we're clear, I think these fields are wonderful. I'm not opposed to any of these fields. I just want there to be transparency. We talk about $1 million, then we talk about $5 million, then we talk about $2.5 million. I just want there to be transparency. I'm all in favor of the fields. I was the recreation coordinator in this town for a number of years. I very much support this. But I mean, we're throwing around $1 million, $1.5 million. Where is that 1.5? Where did that come from? Did we apply for it?
The deadline's the 18th.
I'm sorry?
The deadline is in 4 days.
We applied for that in the deadline.
So
Did the council pass a resolution to apply for that?
It was done by the grant writer.
What's that?
We get a monthly report on what grants are out there and what ones should be.
Well, if we had to pass a resolution for this application, and we had to pass Donna Roberts' resolution for the spray park or the Bailey Park or whatever resolution, why didn't we pass a resolution for the 1.5 million?
Great question, Jim. And I think that we're all learning things along the way. Jay, you have some enlightening information for us.
Mayor, you did adopt the resolution in the past. I believe you also had a public hearing at the council level in order to go through and make that application for the grant.
But I sent an Oprah request asking if there was a resolution, and
So if my recollection serves
in
me-
fact, excuse me, Mayor, I apologize for cutting you off. I didn't ask just if there was a resolution. I asked if there was anything that had anything to do with the
I
grant.
don't think we had the grant writer yet for the
Yeah.
park.
What's that?
Well, how long have you been on the council for? So the grant, right, I'm trying to think, 3 years, right? We're going on 3.
We didn't have the grant writer yet for the first.
So, but, wait a minute. The $500,000, because let's make this clear as far as what I remember. And Dan, correct me if I'm wrong. So the Bailey's Park, $500,000. That was not even originally discussed when Councilwoman Roberts or Councilwoman Marr was on here, the original.
Just at the beginning, yeah.
Maybe at the very, very beginning. I actually think it was before
Well,
that.
actually, that was Resolution 2020-90, sponsored by Assemblywoman Roberts I'm sorry,
Thank you.
Councilwoman Roberts.
You just,
Motion.
congratulations,
Councilwoman
Donna, I
Roberts.
think you're at another
I
meeting
did
in an
not mean
hour.
to demote you. I did not mean to demote you. I apologize. But that $500,000 application, and I want to talk about this during the public portion, because
Can we, all right, this is what we're gonna do, I'm not gonna ask, so, because we are literally going into the weeds, and that is not what our agenda item is.
Okay.
So let us get through our resolution here, that was read in full. I will, right now, ask you to sit for a few seconds.
Absolutely.
So that way we can do our business in reference to this resolution at
thank
this
you very
point.
much.
Then we will call up anybody else. So if you have a question specifically related to Resolution 2022-45, please step up and speak. We are not going to go off on a tangent in reference to anything from roads to other things. Seeing none, can I have a motion to close the public and accept?
I'd like to close the public portion and accept the resolution.
Second.
Consent resolution.
Consent resolution.
And there's second. Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Mar,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Chufenfor,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Enoha,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, anything from Borough Attorney?
No report, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Now, we are going to open to the public again for any and all comments, for the good of the cause, for the sake of a turf field, for the entertainment of a grant, anything to go. Anybody? Now, Jim is diligently writing. Do you want to add anything else before?
I'll wait, Mayor.
Anybody? Come on up. You're coming next. He's closer.
Robert Duffy, 111 Merritt Avenue.
Hi, Mr. Duffy. How
I
are
want
you?
to say thank you to my fellow resident, Bob Boutellette, for a wonderful job he's doing. But I think all of you should be embarrassed that it got that far.
What?
Even though it's the school boards, it should have been squashed earlier. Okay?
We don't have control over that, though.
You don't need marching, you don't need anything. It's a war memorial. That is sacred ground.
No argument here.
Yeah, I understand, but you should be embarrassed. It shouldn't be in the papers. It shouldn't be that far.
You do understand, Mr. Duffy, that we have no power in regards to what transpired at the Board of Education.
I understand that, but you're all in the same group. You could talk and squash that. You hear rumors, you take whatever. I'm gonna move on. I wanna ask the mayor, if it's legally okay, if she could waiver the 5 minutes.
Oh, I have. Don't worry.
Okay.
Oh, please,
Thank
I
you.
haven't held anybody.
I know it's very cold sitting in that chair tonight.
Oh,
and I
I'm
feel for
okay.
you.
I'm okay.
I want to make a comment to the board. When you walk into this building, you don't have a D or an R at your names, number one. Number two, when I heard the mayor speak in late November or the first week of December, there was a little shining light, which I was shocked to hear. Okay? You need to take care of the people here in Sayreville, not the political hacks out of New Brunswick. And they know who they are. And the professional people are not here for Sayreville. We need to clean house and do it right.
Yeah, no.
We're on our own. It's been going on too long in this town, and it's going straight downhill. There's two of yous on that board here that was given wrong information and has an ethics violation against them. That's on your resume for the rest of your life. The professionals move on, and you got to live with it. Wake up, people. Do the right thing. Fire them all. Pay them their salary for the year. Get new people in here.
Mr. Duffy, unfortunately, all of the professionals were officially appointed tonight.
And
by
I know,
Council
it's
President.
late. I know.
No, I
But
tried.
I also have to say that you need to know who you're putting on the boards. Okay? I went to the planning board meeting in November about the warehouses, 1 million square feet. I went there to testify as a truck driver. 32 years I was. Okay? Thank God for Mr. Robinson and the public portion of that meeting. They brought out from the professionals, the attorney, they all said what they had to say, the engineer had to say what they say, the traffic survey had to say, but they got on the traffic guy. He finally admitted he did a one-day survey. 1 day. That's not called for. You ever drop a piece of food on the ground, walk away, come back 20 minutes later, it's 1,000 ants. That's same as lawyers, as professional people. They all go to Saraville, we'll get it through. And there's a board member, council member on this seat that voted yes for it.
I actually voted no.
No, you didn't. I was there. I'll get the records. How could anybody vote when a professional lies to you and vote yes?
Mr. Duffy, I've made, in January, there's been quite a few changes to that planning board now, including my designee and others. There were only so many appointments up this year in January, and I changed them all.
You know, you just got to drop the Ds and the Rs and
I
stop
agree.
listening to the hacks. Okay? You need to put new people in it. And what I seen tonight, I'm embarrassed. Embarrassed to say I'm from Saraville. It was a whitewash. Shame. And you did say yes. You said yes tonight. How many times did you say yes? It's a shame. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Duffy, I appreciate that. Anybody else wish to speak? Yes, come on, Mr. Hurley. Oh, I was gonna let, I was gonna let Mark come up. Hi, Mark.
Hello, good evening. Mark Hurley, President of AFSCME. I know with the last meeting, Dave Savilli brought up the COVID hazard pay. Right after that, I reached out. I've been reaching out since July, and every time it's, you know, we're open to a discussion. I just want to know when we're going to have that discussion. It's,
We're ready, I'm ready to go if everybody else is.
okay. I just want to make sure, because it's, like I said, I've been reaching out since July, and every time is we'll talk, and an appointment or a meeting's never been scheduled.
I'm ready to go, Mark.
Okay,
I'm ready to go.
let me know.
You got it. If the council's ready to talk, we can turn around and make this, it would have to be executive session because it has to do with employees and so forth.
Which is fine.
So Dan, and we'll need labor council too. So if the rest of the council is ready, I see no reason why we don't put that on the agenda for the next meeting.
The professional we hired, I got a couple of responses from him on that.
Mhm.
I think I sent you one. I think he should be there too, as to what we can spend and what we can't spend. The way I understand, it's like $13 an hour or something
Yeah,
like
it is
that.
correct. I
It's
sent
not
everyone an
a
email.
flat sum, for, you know, so there's a lot of things, rules and regulations, you wouldn't believe that we have to go by. So I think that he should be there too. Before we have a meeting with you, we need to have somebody there that's going to tell us all.
Mark, my recommendation, and we'll see what the council wants to do, I would recommend that we make this on our next agenda for executive session, and then the professionals that would be needed in order to help give us some consultation before sitting down or before making a decision at the council level will give us a little bit more insight. But I think that's what you're asking for, is for us to turn around and have those conversations so we can bring
Yes.
them forward. So anybody here on the council have an objection to adding this to our agenda for our next meeting? I don't know, how about I try it this way? If you have an objection to adding this to our executive meeting for our next meeting, please speak now or forever hold your peace. Sorry, I have a wedding coming up, I have to officiate. Okay, I see no
Mayor,
objection.
if I may, sorry to disturb you, could we do that so it wouldn't disturb the council meeting? Could we do that at maybe 6 o'clock and have a
I'm fine
discussion?
with that. Yep, I'm fine with that. Works for me. It's my daughter's birthday that day, so I'll be here, but if I'm late, she's gonna ask you.
And Dave.
And Dave,
And Dave.
and Dave. Is that good, Mark?
That's fine. Very good.
Wonderful, thank you.
All right, thank
I
you.
appreciate that. Come on up. I think I know what she's gonna ask Mr. Robinson, so I'm letting her go first.
Taylor Bernowski, 71 Pulaski.
Hi, Tail.
Hi, I spoke with the mayor before tonight's meeting. Mr. Frankel, I'd like to confirm, I heard that there, in fact, are now 6 air purifiers at the senior center?
The mayor told you that?
Yes.
She's correct.
Look at
Okay,
that.
so I would actually like to follow up on that question. Something this simple took 8 months since June. There are so many other improvements that do need to be made at the senior center. I talked to many seniors during the week via phone, and a lot of them can't make this meeting because of their means of transportation at night, and they feel they have no voice. Are there any other improvements slated for the senior center, and is there someone actively looking at this? Because, you know, I have discussions, and seniors feel, you know, that they're being forgotten about in this town. They're like, the level of cleanliness, nothing's being updated. It's a very rundown building, and they feel that they're not cared about. So I agree with them. Something simple like this took 8 months for 6 air purifiers, but there's so much more that can be done. So is there something that could be done here, and are we actively managing and looking at the senior center?
I will say, and I did speak to your grandpa, is he still back there? Yes, he is, I still see him. One of the last times that there were significant complaints, I went, actually, Jay, did you come with me, or did I go? I think I went by myself, and then I called you, because people complained about the chipping on the ceiling and about the bathrooms and everything like that at the, hold on, active adult community. We fixed the ceilings, I know, when it came to the paint and everything. There was not enough cleanliness going on, so we did a part-time custodian to specifically focus on the active adult community center.
Correct.
There's a lot more work. I think I had asked you to look into what it would cost to remedy or at least rehabilitate those bathrooms. This was a while back. This was like prior to COVID, I think.
What are the repairs covered
Did we-
that are on today's consent agenda?
No, was it?
The architect, may I ask your
Oh, maybe it was the architect that I asked, because I know they came back and it was like difficult to do because of where they're located. But that does not mean that we shouldn't go in there once again and get an overhaul of.
Take a look at
what's-
other senior centers throughout the county and state, and they put Sayreville to shame.
Oh, of course. I mean, that building, remember, was a school. A lot of the other facilities are built versus what we did, which was take over something. I don't know, how many years ago did we take over that building? Was I born yet? No.
Mayor?
It's been a long time. The building itself needs a lot of work.
Mayor, can I just point out, we did vote in our resolutions for $42,045.
Yes.
For a number of repairs to at least get started, including the third floor hall ceiling and wall, third floor library ceiling, decoration room ceiling, auditorium rear curtain wall and ceiling, auditorium left, right, and exit, cafeteria. There's a big note about that, plaster and repairs. So some of that work is getting started, and we voted on that today to get at least this much started.
We also did a repair. Did we use community block grant money when we replaced the awnings and did the front walk, the whole front room was redone? And the windows, and yes, the windows and the doors. So we have been putting, our attention there. It's just a matter of how far does the money go and how much do we get in. So it's definitely not neglected. Some of the repairs may not be noticed sometimes. People don't always necessarily say, boy, those are the most beautiful windows I've ever seen, but that was a huge chunk of money. Not many people will look up at the ceiling unless something's hitting them in the head. So the ceilings have been redone. It's going to take a lot of work. The building itself needs a complete rehab, but we are doing what we can. But by all means, I love when you come to visit and when you come to advocate for our active adults in there. And we're going to keep listening to you.
Keep on relaying feedback.
Keep on coming.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Taylor.
That air filtration system we put in, wouldn't that be paid for with that $5.9 million? It's something brand new.
From what I understand,
Jerry.
the air filtration system has to be
It's not a dock sign.
renovated. We did not renovate it, we just changed the filters and changed the whole filtering system. If it's something, I know, I just think we're trying to stretch as much as we can.
All the way in the back. Did somebody want to speak on this side? The podium's in my way, so I wasn't able to see you. Thank you. Come on up. My attorney, he's got a better angle to you, so I apologize if I didn't call you up
Nothing to
sooner.
apologize for. Well, maybe there is. My name's Tim Sullivan. I live at 177 Grove Street.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your name.
My name is Tim Sullivan.
Oh, thank
I
you.
live at 177 Grove Street, over in the Morgan section. I moved into Sayreville, I think it was 1978 or 1979, and I lived at, was it 350 Armstrong, which they bought my house and knocked it down and put this monster up. But the reason why I moved was because I could go and be by the ball fields, okay? And I remember distinctly when, in perpetuity, all the fields were designated as the Wayne Grant fields, okay? I love where I live. I love this town. And I have to be real honest with you. The property values, when you put a bus depot, and the noise and the absolute disgusting smell of a bus depot, it's not nice. And it actually will destroy the property values. And I think that, since I'm getting taxed for the property value, would obviously mean you should go and take an entire section of Sayreville and lower their taxes. So that's being fair to someone who's a senior citizen now, and I'd kind of like to enjoy living where I live. But unfortunately, with the noise and the constant, checking the brakes and everything else, it really is noisy. And I just wanted to know, since it's a residential area, how can you put an industrial complex, which is a bus depot, in that area? I'm just totally amazed that they're still playing with us, and I just think it's wrong. So I just wanted to bring it up to you guys. That's
Thanks,
all.
Mr. Sullivan. For the record, I made it very, very clear. Jeff will tell you, and everybody else knows here.
Jeff's just my son-in-law.
There you go. Jeff will tell you. From the moment I found out about this, and ironically, the way I found out about this was my daughters, who are on that field 24/7. They are the girls that are out there in the winter with the long bearded guy, my dad and my husband and myself, playing on those fields still and practicing. We found out because a neighbor directly across the street, right after the Board of Education's meeting, had a flyer that was made up by somebody in the town. Thank God that person saw what was on their agenda. Ran it over to my husband and my father, who has grown up on those fields and lived in Morgan our entire lives. My whole family is from there, and still live there. And said, did you see this? I wasn't there that day. They were like, call Vicky, did she see this? No idea it happened. And from the moment I found out, I've been 100% in support of our residents. I walked, I did 4 miles.
No, I know.
I am 100% against
I
this.
actually remember.
I am 100% against this.
No,
We're gonna do everything that we possibly can in order to make sure that that does not happen, not only in Morgan, but no other neighborhood in Sayreville has to deal with the prospect of having a bus depot in their backyards.
Well, that
It's
wouldn't be
not.
my backyard. That would be my
Well, close
front
enough.
yard.
Front yard, front yard.
That's actually,
Depending on- yeah.
that's actually, I mean, I'm right, and I'm like, my
I will,
God.
it's it's not right. We're gonna do everything that we can. We already have. Our engineer has already sent over what the Board of Education requested. We gave over a list of the properties that are.
No, I know,
We've done it.
Yes.
You keep coming here, by all means. I want to hear, I get excited when we have people here. And I'm standing with you. I'm standing proudly with you.
But you have to have final decision over.
And
don't.
so I can give an
If it
update on
is,
that, sir.
I'm
Mayor, I can give an update. So the Board of Ed did come back after reviewing that list of 8 properties. And Jay attended their finance meeting, that they narrowed it down to 2 properties. And I'd like to put a committee together with both the council and Board of Ed members and Jay to further discuss their preferred properties.
Well,
So it's not going to be in front of my house?
No,
You
or in
just-
any other neighborhood
By
for
the way,
that matter.
you just made my.
Yes, yes. We're going to put
Thank you.
together a council, a special committee, and we'll discuss the properties that they
I don't need to
prefer.
know, I trust you guys.
Will this,
Actually
will this
do.
be through the liaison?
And I voted for
to the
you.
Board of Education?
I don't know. I mean, I think that it's important that we stay as transparent as possible, that the public know exactly what is being discussed. I did not, I did see that there was a conversation, I guess there was a meeting of the Board of Education. I had heard that it was 3 properties, now you're telling me it's only 2?
2, yes.
What are
You
those
were on that
properties? Why don't you share
email.
that with the
I
public?
thought you were on that email as well.
I think you were, I thought it was 3, but by all means, share the properties.
So I think that's the purpose of the committee meeting, is to discuss it internally so that we can vet all the options. And I don't want to put out possibilities that may not happen. I don't want to give false promises.
It's only 2. One of the things that I'm concerned about, I'll be honest with, and I've spoken to, Jeff, I think I've spoken to you about this, or maybe others, that, and I don't want to give false hope either to Mr. Sullivan. I'm sorry, I'm going to scoot over just a little bit, so that way, I'm short, I'm vertically challenged, so I need a pillow to see over the podium.
I apologize.
This is one of the things I'm worried about. I mean, I'm happy that they identified 2 pieces of property. But what happens if they deem that those pieces of property are not acceptable, or they're cost prohibitive, or there's other things? I mean, listen, I know what the properties are here in this town. I know what some of the hurdles will be. What happens if those 2 properties don't end up working for them? Where does it go? And I'm glad that they found 2 pieces of property within the inventory that was sent over from CME.
Yes.
I
the
would
email, you
very
were on the
much
email.
like to know, though.
You were on the
what-
email, Mayor, February
Yeah, that's
9th.
fine. I know what, I thought it was 3. I mean, you know,
I actually heard 3.
I thought it was 3. I know the 2 you're referencing. But again, I thought it was 3. What I want to know, though, is if those properties don't pan out, has the Board of Education considered any of their property? Because I still think that there are viable Board of Education pieces of land that could also serve in this capacity. I'm concerned because all they put up was our section of Morgan. And when I say our section, that's where again, I have family there. I'm concerned about that. I still think that one of the best sites is actually at the high school right now. It's the back practice field located in between the middle school and the high school. And the reason why I say that's one of the best pieces of property is it's clear, it's large, it has enough of the acreage, I believe, that the board and Dr. Labby are looking at. There's already infrastructure there, and there's already a road there, and the buses already depart from that, so we're used to that traffic pattern and flow, but it eliminates them from being over by School Drive.
Yeah.
I think that from a cost perspective, that needs to be entertained and looked at. But that wasn't even discussed. And I know that at some point, Dr. Labby had made a comment that, well, a lot of our teams do utilize that backfield. And I said, I can't imagine that there is one borough council member here that would object to us giving them the abandoned Panther field right at Kennedy Park, which is massive and huge. They can turn around and have a field day over there. You want golf, you want this, you want that, take it, enjoy it. You already using our tennis courts, you already use our soccer fields, you already use our baseball fields, right there. And I think it might benefit everybody. So while I'm happy that they found, out of the 8 parcels that we did show them, 2 that they're entertaining, I would really like to know what their backup plan is if those 2 don't work from the Board of Education's perspective, because I don't want this, well, what they gave us isn't going to work for us, so we're going back to Morgan. I don't want that.
Well, they did, out of the list of 8 that we gave them, they are happy with 2 of them, so.
Yeah, no, but they don't know what so the 2 that I believe, and I'm gonna put them out there. I mean, let me ask you, is there an issue, legal issue, if I turn around and share that? Because I think it's something
Mayor, I
that.
can stay here at the podium and share it if you want, if there's a legal issue with you
Go
saying
ahead,
it.
knock yourself, you
So
know what?
there's a property on Cheesequake Road, there's a property on Journey Mill Road.
There you go, thank you. One of them, and it would make sense. I believe that the property over on Journey Mill Road is our former landfill site. Just throwing it out there, I can't imagine that that's clean. So take that for what it's worth. And there's cost to that. Now, the Cheesequake Road site is actually located behind the high school. It's actually, and Bob, you did a walk for PFC Walter Faith. It is on, you have the Walter Faith Memorial, you have the basketball court, you have another baseball field, and you have a playground right there on that site. They want to build back out that way, back much closer.
No, there is some miscommunication there.
Oh, I'm sorry, they want to look at, that's right, that was the
It's-
3rd site.
It's the old Babe Ruth field.
It's the old
across-
Babe Ruth field. I did, you want to know how I'm going to tell you right now. There's a whole nother group of individuals that are going to be flooding this council chambers. Because when that property was handed over to the borough, I don't know how many years ago, Mayor, I might need you.
Yeah, DuPont donated that property to us, and verbally they said it was to remain
Open space.
It was never actually put in the contract, so technically we can do it. But when we discussed years ago.
Oh, Lord.
A public works facility over there, because this one, OSHA, is.
Let's not even say, it's,
There's nothing safe about that. The environmentalists came out and voted this meeting, probably with just as many, if not more, saying
Yeah.
we shouldn't build anything on it.
not, and that is closer to our police range, towards back. And it also would eventually abut, and I don't know how far back they were looking, but you have our horse, the horse stables over there. And listen, I'm just saying, this is what I know is going to be potentially a problem with those 2 sites. I apologize for mentioning the other one. I just know that they were interested in that site also at a certain point. But I think they pulled that one off because they said it would have been cost prohibitive, the one that I was referring to. So I just see what I see. And I'm concerned that Morgan residents are going to be faced with the same issue a little bit further down the ways, which means all of us are going to be faced with that issue if these 2 sites don't work out. I hope I'm wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong.
So Mayor, again.
But where do we go from there?
Committee with Donna Roberts and have also board bed members so that we can discuss these future sites.
I think that what's really important is I would like, obviously, our professionals there. That would be Jay. I would also like our business administrator there as well, because I think that that is important. The only thing that I worry about is, listen, I don't know why we, and that's good. I mean, you can talk to them or whatever. I just don't like, sometimes committees can get hairy, because I want this to be open, transparent, and have the conversation. I don't think that us talking and sharing this is of legal issue at all. So just bring it to the public so we can all see what's going on, because you guys shouldn't have to jump from council meeting to council meeting to Board of Ed meeting to Board of Education meeting.
We wouldn't missed this for the whole.
I know, you like.
On Valentine's Day,
think-
Exactly.
nonetheless.
I'm wondering why your wife was so okay with you taking on this, because, wait, is she here? But that's just my concern. I'm concerned about it. I want it open, transparent, and I want everybody involved in it.
Do you think then maybe the Board of Education would have a joint meeting with the entire council, and that way it would have to be open to the public?
That
Would be a
is
great
fabulous.
idea.
I love that. Any objection? That's good. I like that.
I don't often speak out for that meeting, but since they've been, on Zoom, I have listened, and they made one comment that concerned me greatly, and I personally have shared it with a couple of people. When asked about how they would continue to fuel their buses, they said, "Oh, we're still going to go to Borough Hall."
Yeah.
We can't support that, and that is something else that's going to have to be brought up, as it was when we first made that deal with them. They didn't have a lot of buses. They've doubled the amount of buses. They're probably looking at quadrupling the amount of buses. We can't put a bigger tank in here. We got a very small piece of property.
Absolutely.
Right now, we're filling up 3 times a week just to keep their buses. We sometimes have our pickup trucks waiting for the fuel to show up because the buses have just been in and emptied our fuel. So this is something that, again, if we had a joint meeting, whether it's a committee or the entire council, this could be brought up, because as soon as I heard that, I got on the phone and I called the supervisor, and I said, "Can we do this?" And he said, "Absolutely not." So then I talked to Jay, and he says, "You're probably right, Mary, because we can't put in a bigger tank
No,
here.
and we're fueling
So
all
one
the
of
fire
the
trucks,
things I did
ambulances,
see
and
in
police
our,
cars
in
there
our
too.
packages
So.
now is there are grants available that we can apply for electric school buses. So,
Well,
maybe
that
will
is,
help.
okay,
I
let's stay
sent that
focused
to her.
before we go off. We don't even have a place to put the gas buses,
Yeah.
okay? So, and listen, if that was the issue, we wouldn't have an issue with school drive. They might be able to stay where they are because there wouldn't be emissions. But, I'll add this. I mean, we have an underused parking right as well. If it comes for a matter of, listen, where we need to put buses, I'm still trying to figure out why every single bus needs to be located on one piece of property when they service multiple schools,
We also have 80 employees that we have to worry about.
including the Catholic schools as well. And they have an awful lot of space that I'm sure they wouldn't mind helping us out if we needed to keep a couple buses there to start the morning on the other side of town versus where they were. Just saying,
Our
I'm
employees
literally
deserve a
thinking a
lounge
lot.
and a bathroom.
What
and we have
I
80
love-
employees to worry about as well.
What I love is actually Councilwoman Novak's suggestion. And I want, for the interest of transparency and for our residents to be able to be in a room and not have to jump from one place to the other. And this delays the process too. You wait for a Board of Ed meeting, then you gotta wait for a council meeting. That's not efficient government. That's not efficient to anything that needs to be done. Let's turn around. Dan, reach out to Erin Hill, who is the BA for the school. I want you to work on coming up with a way that we can hold a public meeting, complete with the council and the Board of Education. You can speak with Mr. DuPont about that, because I think this deserves, for the first time ever, historic Board of Ed, council, together, talking about the interests of our residents. That's the way it should be done.
Preferably the high school, so that a lot of people can, there'll be plenty of room.
I'm fine, yep.
Yeah, well, you're gonna need it for the parking.
Yeah, location is definitely, this is not conducive to that big of a forum. Gentlemen, dare I say we might have at least a little bit of progress in this?
Oh, yeah, but I still have 20 more questions for you.
Of course you do.
I'm
But,
gonna go sit back.
thank you, Mr. Sullivan.
So,
Keep going.
my question, you're talking about transparency, and I want to thank Councilwoman Marr because she's been on the phone, she's been very vocal working with the Board of Education, and it's been refreshing to see that there's at least that line of communication open. The school board and the borough council used to work years ago, hand in hand. That's how you have an active adult center right now. That's how we have fields that are on school property shared with the AA and the Little League, and we have town fields that are shared with the schools. Because at one point in Sayreville's history, the Board of Education and the Borough Council did work together, then something happened, and now you barely talk to each other, which is disgusting, to say the least.
I agree, no doubt.
And keeping in lines of transparency, CME is also the engineer on record for the Board of Education.
Correct,
So the Board of Education at any point could have gone to CME and said, identify properties for us.
correct.
Why, of the 8 properties that were given to the Board of Education, were some blue acres that can never be built on? Some are green acres that would be incredibly difficult to build on. And the valuable property in the mind of either the borough or Sarah were totally excluded from even potentially being proposed to the district.
I asked, Jay, can you, I don't know what the redevelopment agency, because they are in fact separate, I don't know what they put on the table. I asked for
CME
it.
works with every part of
Oh,
Sarah.
no, I know, I asked for it. I asked that the redevelopment agency properties, and I also asked that any county properties be added to that. So, Jay, do you want to enlighten us?
Let me correct you, there's no Green Acres property, there's no Blue Acres property
Okay, then
on the list. There's
I appreciate that, Jay. Then this is where this problem exists right now, is the Board of Education is telling the residents of Saraville one thing, which is apparently
But
complete
when?
BS.
Because I've been listening to the meetings as well. When did they say that?
So that was in an email I got from somebody on.
So Jay, and I agree with you, and that's why I think that us coming together, because then you guys can see that. Jay, you're stating that, and Jay is the person that prepared the maps and sent them over and was present at the meeting. For the record, there are no Green Acres and there are no Blue Acres properties listed on the map.
correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go. Anything else? You said 20. I think we
So,
went through
well,
3.
no, we can keep going, but I think that covers a lot of it. I think if we could have a meeting that is public, that is transparent, it would put a better feeling in a lot of people's minds.
I
Because
agree.
right now, it doesn't seem to be very transparent. It doesn't appear to be very open, and it appears to be a lot of backroom deals that are happening.
You heard it from me. I said it. Anyone from the council object to having an open meeting with the Board of Education to be advertised in accordance with law, so that way both parties, both bodies are in the room? Any objection?
My only question, Mayor, is when are we going to decide the funding? Are we leasing them the property? Are we selling them property?
I don't think we're that
There's
far
many
yet. I think we have to get in
details.
front of them. I think
Right.
we have to get in front of them.
Right.
We don't have to make those, listen, I think we need to get in a room together first with our professionals. I think that's what needs to happen. Those are all fantastic questions, but we're nowhere near that discussion yet.
Yeah.
Right.
And let's let the public hear and see it. We have nothing, we are here to operate in the transparency, the best interest of the residents. Period, done, the end. No closed doors, no back rooms, no mini committees that report back what they can and what,
Well,
Open and-
thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilwomen. Thank you, Councilman. I appreciate that.
you got it, Jeff, thank you. I'm Mr. Duffy.
Bob Duffy, 111 Merritt Avenue. I have a question for Jay.
Okay,
over
what's your-
this bus thing with the schools. I know in the trucking industry, when the state almost shut everything down because of the drainage. You couldn't build any new terminals and stuff because of the leakage from the tractor trailers and stuff like that. They have to go through federal mandates and rules and regulations, and it has to go in front of a meeting and has to be voted on. Is that true?
To be honest with you, Mr. Duffy, we have not looked into anything to do with the bus
Okay.
depot. We were asked to look at borough, county, Sarah properties that might be a suitable alternative site. That's what we came up with.
Okay. Mayor, I'm pretty sure.
I was
that-
listening to what you were saying.
I'm pretty sure for the Board of Ed to put that bus depot anywhere, they got to get federal approval, state approval, because of the drainage for the DEP and stuff like that.
That would
They
make
gotta have
sense.
special sewers underneath the ground. It's not like just put blacktop down and go. It's not like that.
That would
So-
make sense to me.
Well, I was in the industry a long time, and that was a big thing, because as we were growing, our company wanted to build more,
Uh-huh.
and federal agencies
I can
said
only
no,
assume that the
especially in a
restrictions are tighter
neighborhood.
now.
Yeah, so,
I can only assume that they would be tighter now. Anybody else? All right, Jim, let me look. Okay, you're good.
Thank you, Mayor. By the way, the council and the Board of Education used to get together all the time years ago, but then Swanee's closed. And I just want to say this with respect to your comment about two properties, and Councilwoman Mayer's in real estate, I sell commercial real estate. Putting all your eggs in two baskets like that, it just doesn't make sense. So I
think
certainly,
it's just their top two preferences.
I
think
certainly
they'd be
agree
willing
they
to
ought to have a lot more spaces. I recommended one area, the DuPont property behind the first aid squad. I thought it was centrally located. I thought there was a lot of property there. Some folks might remember that when the borough wanted to, it was Councilman Haag, wanted to transform the DPW garage into the first aid squad. We made them come before the planning board. The planning board rejected, not formally rejected it, but said we had issues with it, and recommended it be located more centrally. And Mayor McCormick reached out to DuPont, and that's how that property was donated.
I know there were
And there's property
discussions.
behind there. There's actually an abandoned, I believe it's an abandoned building. It was built in 1925 that's over there. They tore down the building that was in front of it. I
Yes.
thought that would be a great spot. I'm familiar, I saw the traffic study on Cheesequake Road because of the, relative to the mega warehouses that are going to be built there, and I'm not so sure that that would work for school buses, which have to run on a schedule.
Yeah.
So I just have some, so just two, I don't think is enough.
And Mary, I know that you
But
were on the
did you-
council when they entertained putting the DPW facility, but I believe it was the recycling or the incinerator behind the PD. Wasn't that there too?
That's a county piece of property, and years ago, the county wanted a piece of property over by the sewer treatment plant, and we owned that.
Mhm.
They had the property behind police headquarters, and they owned that, and there was gonna be a property swap.
Yeah.
And then it just all fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
well, and we've done that with the planning
Many
board, and the
times.
council did that before. They did property swaps, and it works, but.
That's why I wanted the county properties included within the
Yeah.
map, because I knew that was part
And the
of
Sarah
potentially
property as
that
well. I
input.
thought there was
Yeah.
property on Saraville Boulevard that.
But I digress, and
But there,
I know you've got pressing things.
yeah, there ought to be more than two. Anybody who's in real estate knows that you put everything, depending on just two properties, and you're gonna end up where we are now. But I don't want to really belabor this other point, and it wasn't about the fields and the grants and things like that. It wasn't even really my issue. Some people brought it to my attention. And then, like an onion, once I started to peel back, this just doesn't make sense. There's some things that are missing here, and I love the fields. I love grants. I love transparency in government more. And that's all I want to get to, because this is what is confusing. In January of 2020, we all saw the press release from the legislative, our senator and assemblyman, that talked about the $500,000 for Bailey Park. Then in April of 2020, Councilwoman Roberts sponsored Resolution 2020-90 that authorized the borough to apply for the grant money that we were apparently awarded 5 months before in December. Did we ever apply for that? Did we ever get the money? I asked the clerk, she has nothing on record with respect to that, so that's a mystery.
It's my understanding that there were grants that we were supposed to get, but then COVID happened, and you know the state relies heavily on sales tax. Well, their revenue on sales tax went in the toilet. So it
But-
wasn't just us, a lot of towns that had been told they were getting grants We just never got the money because it didn't exist.
But why is there nothing official on that? Why are there no records indicating that? I mean, I'm a member of the public. I like to stay involved. I have no idea what the status of that $500,000 is. If we didn't get it, I understand. COVID, a lot of things were pulled, but if we didn't get it, we should know that. And then tonight, we passed a resolution to apply for $1 million. Then Mr. Palando indicated that there's another $1.5 million on the table. And then we learned that the entire project, and this is the first time I'm hearing it, maybe I'm remiss in not knowing this, this is the first time I'm hearing the entire project is a $5 million project. So my questions are, did we get and apply for the $500,000? What's the status of the million this resolution talks about, or the $1.5 million that Mr. Palando talked about? And then he actually said it's 1.5 in addition to 1 million. So we're now at 2.5 million plus the 500 for Bailey Park. So we're at 3 million. I mean, you know, talk about baseball fields. This is like a Who's on First skit. You know, did we apply? Didn't we apply? Are we getting it? Are we not getting it? Is it 1 million? Is it 1.5? Is it 5? I think all of these things are great. I spent a lot of time in this town helping to promote these things, but there should be transparency. We should know this.
Jim?
So can anybody explain what we applied for, what we got, what the source of the misinformation might be, what we expect to get, and what the big picture is?
Michelle told you about the one.
I feel like, so Dan, correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, Mr. Frankel offered to explain it to me if I called him, and I said, no, I'd rather do it publicly so there's no misunderstanding.
So he said the 1 million
So-
was from the state legislators. Yes?
Correct.
And the 1.5 we are applying for through our grant writer.
Did we pass a resolution for that?
There's no resolution for the 1.5 million.
Due date is coming up.
There's no, okay, but you're mixing apples and oranges, if I may?
Sure.
Thank you. The $1 million, Mr. Robinson, as you know, working as chief of staff, or I believe you were working with legislators yourself.
I was
Okay.
chief of staff for the speaker.
For the
Yes.
speaker. You understand how grants are, how they work. So let me.
I understand how they used to work when you applied first and then you got them.
So we did not apply, when I say apply, our legislators told us that there was $1 million available to us. It is in the fiscal year budget, I believe 22, line item B36. The questions you are asking are questions that should be directed to the Department of Community Affairs, who administer those grants. These are not by applications. These are going through a SAGE process where the state has computerized everything. So it's a process that we work with through the legislators giving us, or excuse me, saying they are able to put money aside for us, that we go to a computer system called SAGE, where money is, I guess, applied. We do not apply, we've not applied for that $1 million or the $500,000 until they said, we think that you can now go into the system and it's in the fiscal budget of the New Jersey state budget. Otherwise, it's not allocated. And that's through the legislators. So you're better, if I'm pushing you in the right direction that you want to know transparency, you should be going to the Department of Community Affairs, okay, and looking at the state budget and line items that are there that would say, one says Jerry Ust, and there's another one under, I'd have to get you the exact, it's not Bailey, no, there's another one. That's cultural and cultural and something it is, okay? I do not know any other grant that is in the state at the moment, I do not, that isn't the 1 million and the 500,000. All I know is the $1.5 million because I work with the person or a people through the computer for an application. That's not really an application, it's a form. And I have a form here, okay, an example of a form. It's not really an application. So if I may finish, okay? So that money, if you go to the state budget, there's a line item, and probably your question for the $1 million will be answered. The 500,000 would not say directly dedicated to Sayreville, but it's in a trough, I'll call it, for $500,000.
But the press release indicated.
Sir, a press release.
It was for Sayreville.
A press release is from, we did not do the press release.
The press release was read here at this meeting.
Let me finish. Whatever's in the press, okay, we did not do that, okay? If that was released from the state legislators, and all good intent is to say through the state legislators that the money was there and allocated, God bless the state legislators. They're working hard for us. They're trying to get money for us. They're trying to get money for our benefit. But we did not release that press release.
Actually, maybe I have more faith in our legislators than you do, but they said we were awarded that money.
We were awarded that money.
We
That
were
is correct.
awarded that money.
We were.
The 500,000 or the
Yes.
million?
The 500,000.
It was taken back.
The 500,000.
But there's no record of it. Nobody knows for sure.
Listen, right now, I have, and Dan did his best at trying to, I think, explain it. I have no idea what that $500,000 is. I have no idea.
You should call the Department of Community Affairs.
It's in a line item in Community Affairs budget that it does not say Sayreville. It says cultural, and I'll get you the exact line item. It's there. It's line B36 in the state budget. Look it up. It's there. It's not dedicated to Sayreville. It's a trough of money.
So if I remember correctly, initially when that press release came out, and I did read it at the microphone, that we got that $500,000. After that, it wasn't COVID that initially held that money up. It was the governor who did not sign off on the budget, the state budget. It was actually the governor.
That was a freeze.
That was a freeze.
That money was later released.
The money was frozen. And that was the last that I had heard about that for a while. After the governor turned around, signed the budget, then that money, we received notification that that money was now no longer under the freeze and that we would receive that money. That was shortly before COVID. COVID came, the world stopped. We all know that. I have to be honest with you, I kind of lost sight of $500,000 worth of money for a park because we were more worried about the health and safety of people. Now, somewhere along the line, at some point, the last that I had heard was that the money was still somewhere in this universe of state funds. But the money was now going to be reallocated from Bailey's Park to now the improvements that were being done over at the Jerry Ust recreational complex. But we still had not received that money, no idea where it is. No idea what was going on with it. When we first received notice that we were getting that money and we had the whole press release and it was coming, I remember sitting down and talking with our engineer and Dave Samuel about how far could $500,000 get us in Bailey Park improvements. What's the reality of this? Because we all knew that the spray park was not a reality for $500,000. So what would that get us? And preliminarily, you guys even said, like, listen, we'd be looking at a front-end facelift in essence. Any type of major infrastructure repairs or things were just not going to happen. And we knew that. Do I think that the idea of reallocating it to a part that we could do more with made sense? Sure, made sense. but it also bothered me because I still think Bailey's Park needs the attention that it deserves. Where that money is now, we're receiving information now, and I trust Dan, that it is living now in some new line item title number, but here's my problem. It's not here. And if the money isn't here, A, how do we get it? Okay? Where is it going and how quick can we get it here? I learned a lot today, and it's concerning to me because you bring up transparency. I should not, none of us up here as elected officials should be hearing about money that we are receiving from the state from residents. I should not be informed that, oh, this is going to be a $2.5 million, maybe a $3 million. Why are we not in the know with this? That is a problem for me. That is a problem for me. And I think this is one of the reasons why we have to sit here and have an hour and a half long conversation about grant money. Okay, it's the old, is the tail wagging the dog? What's going on? Transparency, openness, discussion, government. It's got to run better than this, people. I'm glad that we are, I don't want to say fighting, but we're discussing grant money that we want to receive. But can you imagine the disaster when it's money that's got to go out? That's your tax dollars. Now maybe you understand my frustration, and Mr. Duffy, thank you for bringing up November. Thank you for bringing up the conversations about the R's and the D's. Because this right here is a perfect example of what happens when you try to run a town based on what letter, what color you're wearing on your chest, or what line you ran under to get into this seat. When are people going to wake up and realize we either come together or we fall apart?
Ain't gonna happen, you get too many.
So, thank you.
Thank you for that, Mayor, and I agree, certainly, we've got to tighten up with things. I appreciate Mr. Frankel's comments about press releases. I've written a few in my day. I know how that works. They were always factual, and if we promised the town they were getting money, they got the money. Now, based on that comment, I'm wondering, are we going to get that 1.5 million? Are we going to get that million? If, to paraphrase Mr. Frankel, if this is politicians just putting out press releases, and I hope that's not what he meant. I have more faith in them than that. But you can't get people's hopes up that you're going to have $1 million or 1.5 or throw in the 500, 2 million, and it's not going to happen. That's why people don't trust government.
And why do you think I
This is
said
not nickels
no
and
committee
dimes.
for the bus depot? We either do it together or it doesn't get done because I'm worried about the transparency. You're seeing it here. What the heck is going on? So keep coming, keep questioning, keep researching and looking.
And Mayor, as I said, this wasn't my issue. Some folks turned me on to this, and I started to look into it a little bit. But I'll tell you something that was my issue, where there's a parallel.
Mm-hmm.
COA, as you know, I was very interested and involved in. Well, I found out about the COA situation when a neighbor of mine saw surveying trucks across the road, and she went and asked them what they were doing. So she came and she called me. My neighbors call me about things. And so I said, it's very interesting. I gave her a list of questions, and I sent her down to the planning board to ask those questions. And she came back and she said, nope, nope, nope. None of that is true. They're not talking about any of that. That's not under consideration. They have no record of that. Well, we know that's not the case. We know that's not the case. We know we had been sued. We were in court. All of this stuff was illegally discussed in closed session by members of the planning board that weren't even legally appointed to the planning board. But yet, when we asked a direct question of the secretary, the then secretary, and I'm not attributing any malice or anything, but we were told no. And it's not as if a neighbor, and this sounds self-serving and I apologize, it's not if a neighbor just went down and asked questions. She asked me, who had been a planning board chairman for 15 years, who knows a little bit about land use, and I wrote the questions. So I know that she asked the right questions and just didn't get the right answer. And that was something that was pretty important. Not that ball fields aren't important, but that was a little bit more, well, they're equally as important. They're just different. So I think it's, the message here is this. It goes back to what I said before, transparency. When people ask questions, they have to be given answers here. Now, I'll call Sheila Oliver. I have no problem calling Sheila Oliver and ask her about that. But when people ask questions about what's going on here, we should get the answers here, especially if it's about, well, we're between $500,000 and $5 million.
I agree with you, Jim.
So that's, and I'm sorry to belabor it, but I'm not sorry, because people should know what's going on. And, you know, when I hear comments that, well, we were talking to legislatures, but it wasn't the council, well, who's the we? Is it a shadow government? I don't know. So, you know, that transparency is my concern. Thank you very much. I
Thank
apologize
you.
for taking so much time.
Come on up.
Bob with the Light 7 Tyler Street.
Hi.
All right, Morgan Second Saraville. I'm going to change things up a little bit because I'm going to tell you how grateful I am that the council actually stepped in and helped us in this fight. All right. How many of y'all are veterans? Anybody a veteran here?
My husband is. Family members.
Very good. Has anybody here felt the loss of someone in combat
No.
in your families?
I pray not to.
Yes.
Has anybody spent 10 hours on the telephone trying to convince a young Army sergeant that life was worth it and you want him to put that gun into a mailbox and go back home? I have. This is personal to me, all right? John 15:13. Right? No greater love hath man than this, that he laid down his life for a friend. These guys that we have monuments for in this town, right? From World War II to Korea to Vietnam to the Gulf War to Iraq and Afghanistan, you know, these guys died in combat among friends. They didn't die for politics. They died to protect the guys to the left and the right of them, right? Let's talk about the memorial in Morgan, all right? The Wayne Grant Memorial. Wayne Grant, Vietnam, very unpopular war. When people are out there burning their draft cards or burning the flag or running to Canada, running to Mexico, or if they're wealthy enough to afford a good attorney or a good doctor, they get a deferment. Wayne Grant enlisted in the United States Army. Like I told the Board of Education, we're a brotherhood and a sisterhood, you know? Words, you know, like duty, honor, courage, commitment mean something to us. They're not just words. They're beneath us. It's how we live our lives. A guy like Wayne won a Bronze Star. You got to keep his memorial. Guys in Vietnam, like I said, very unpopular war. They didn't come home as heroes. You know, not at all. They were spit on in the airports, right? They were called murderers, right? Baby killers. It was a disqualifier for employment if you were a veteran. You came home, you didn't get a job because you actually served your country in Vietnam. That's horrible. They came home suffering the same things the guys now do. The horrors of war, they had PTSD. You know, they had the same thing, you know, traumatic brain injuries, but they had no support base. No one home liked them, you know, and the VA wasn't prepared to do anything for them, right? I talk about the horrors of war, and the only way I can impress upon civilians is just think about the worst day you've ever had in your life, the most horrific experience you've ever experienced your entire life, right? That horrible thing that happened to you, the one thing that changed your life forever, right? Something you never want to experience again. You know, it pretty much, you probably thought you didn't want to go on after that day, right? Now think about what we ask these new young combat veterans to do. They experience that, then we ask them to dust themselves off and go back out the next day and do it again, and the next day, and the next day, 3 months, 6 months, a year, right? Human mind's not wired for that, right? Human body's not wired for that. That's why we have to honor these guys, girls. right? That memorial means so much to us. It's remembrance, and that's important to us, you know? You go by that memorial, or you go by the memorial in Laurel Park, and you watch that name and you're saying it in your mind, you know? They live on. You heard the adage that, you know, a warrior dies 2 deaths. His first death is when you take your last breath. The second day is when your name is last spoken in public. Right? We don't ever want to see that. But thank you, and that's why I want you guys to keep fighting for us. It's important to us. Thanks.
Thank you. So true. And I think I know I will keep fighting. And I'm quite certain that the people up here will do the same. Thank you. Anybody else from the public wish to speak? With that, I will entertain the motion. Did I have anybody? Just checking. Entertain a motion to close the public portion.
I'd like to make a motion to close the public portion.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? All in favor? Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move into our second meeting at this time, so I will ask, yes, run to the bathroom if you need to. We do have another meeting. Feel free to, let's give it 5 minutes, guys, so that way we can move to our second agenda. Let me scoot for a second. I need to stretch my legs. All right, my dear. So we got a little bit of.
I want him.
Oh, I was gonna say.
Yes, that's what I'm talking to him about it.
So, Mr. J. How you doing, Frank?
That's my son. Well, you know, it's funny that you said that because I've joined meetings, I'm always thoroughly embarrassed that something so light on me.
See you show up.
It wasn't.
That's okay, you can always call me. Not personal. Sure, you could always call me. I'm not asking for That's why I gave you the numbers about electric. The other guy. Okay. No worries. No. I'm not offended. I'm not offended.
I'm not coming for you to even ask.
And I'll give you. They did. Yeah, I know. We were. There was no. I'm learning too. So when you
All right, are we all ready? Let's get started.
Thank you, please don't be offended, like I told you.
All right. Mary, can some, yeah, here she comes, she hears me. This is our, the one Mary. Oh, all right, ladies and gentlemen, are we ready? Let's get started. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll call our next meeting to order with a salute to our flag. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, statement of publication again, please, Jessica.
Take notice that this regular meeting of the mayor and council being held this 14th day of February 2022 has been advertised and posted in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Conti.
Here.
Junifor.
Here.
Mar.
Here.
Novak.
Here.
Anoha.
Here.
Roberts.
Here.
Ladies and gentlemen, moving through with old business, any comments or questions on the ordinances presented in the first meeting? Seeing none, we'll move. Yes, we do need to table, what is it, 06-22? And then we can move on to new business at this point. Communication and committee reports, we'll start off with Councilwoman Novak for Administration and Finance.
Yes, I made an appointment with the CFO Wednesday morning, bright and early, and we're a little bit behind because, we were having, network issues. Unfortunately, so we're a little bit further behind, but we're hoping to push forward. We're going to work as fast I'd also like to say, I don't know if anybody's been watching Channel 4 News, but Sayreville Police Department has been, they had last Friday, I believe, they had a whole segment dedicated to a little boy who accidentally dialed 911. Yes. And while the cop was there, because they have to answer every one, they must go and make sure that something wasn't going on. And the little boy said his police car was broken, his little plate one. So the police department, the officer, Officer Teeter, brought a play one to him. And on his actual birthday, the PBA spent the money, and our mechanics over there did the job of putting it together, and they brought it to him. And Channel 4 News thought this was so wonderful, they did a nice thing. Then on Sunday, starting at 6 o'clock in the morning, we had another thing that Sarah was really becoming very popular on the network shows with all of the innovative things that we've been doing. And they had it on 6 times on Channel 4 before the Super Bowl started. It's a program that the police departments have been working on for years, where on holidays where there tends to be a little bit more drinking than normal, offering a sizable discount for Lyft. And they, again, Channel 4 did an entire thing on it, and it was really nice. It started early in the morning, and it was 5 other times during the day, so people could see that. We haven't gotten a report on how many people actually used it. I did ask, the last time we did it was around Thanksgiving, and there was 20 people that afforded themselves of this. I'd really like to thank Brian's mother, who also has a foundation for her son who's killed by a drunk driver, as well as the PBAs from Sayreville, South River, and South Hamlet, fortunately on Channel 4 this year. It was really South Hamlet, and as well as the Veterans Association. They all contribute to this, and it really makes a difference. We don't want to, the police department doesn't want to give out tickets. They want to help people get home safely. So, and just, I asked when the next time we were going to do it, and it's going to be the day of the South Illinois St. Patrick's Day Parade. So, I'm really proud of our police department. And what else did I want to say? Well, I guess that's it. The senior center, Thursday club. Oh my God, the people that showed up. You know, it was like, do you remember the parties? Oh, yeah, I missed that. Where the parking lot was so full, you had almost parking at home and walk there. The parking lot was chock full, and so many more new members, not just adult, active adults in there. And they are so happy to be getting back into use of that building, so we're really happy about that. Other than that,
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Novak. We are now going to move on to Planning and Zoning. Councilman Anoa.
Yes, overall, before we motion to receive and file the minutes, there is a public hearing coming up in our next planning board meeting on Wednesday to get our take on the preliminary investigation on, Club Pure and its, connections to, being considered a development, property area. So, looking forward to that discussion and findings in our meeting on Wednesday. And, beyond that, that's the main major update regarding planning and zoning.
Board under
Sure.
number 1.
I guess that is a motion, right?
Yes, it is. So you're going to read it exactly the way it says, move the following minutes and reports be received and filed,
Yep.
and then read number 1.
Yep. I motion to move the following minutes and reports to be received and filed. Planning board minutes of December 1st, 2021 and January 5th, 2022.
Is there a second? Thank you. And then you gave us the update on the notice of adjacent community and property owners, but I will need you to read that into the minutes. So,
Understood. Yep.
Go ahead.
Notice of public hearing to be held before the Sayreville Planning Board on the 16th of February 2022 to discuss the report titled Preliminary Investigation for Determination of an Area in Need of Redevelopment for property known as Club Pure, 1970 Highway 35.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Anything else that you'd like to comment on or progress?
No, not for now.
Okay,
Thank you.
progress it is then. Thank you very much, Councilman. Next, we have Public Safety, Councilwoman Jumfor.
Thank you so much. I move the following minutes/reports to be filed from the Board of Health. I would like to congratulate them on their new vice president. I did speak to Mr. Joe. Congratulations to them, and they continue with him as the president.
Second.
Just state that it's the January 6, 2022 minutes.
Yes, is the January 6, 2022 minutes, please.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
I also move the following minutes/reports to be filed and received for the application members as a firefighter, received for the following: Martinez Richards and Courtney M.
Is it Misowitz?
Yes, I will not mess up that name. I have too much respect for that.
Miss Savage. Thank you.
Okay, and then
Any objection? Thank you.
I move the following minutes to be received and filed. Request to travel from the Cerebral Engine, which is the fire truck, to attend the St. Patrick's Day Parade on March 6, 2022 in Belmar, New Jersey.
Any objection with that? Okay, continuing.
I also move the following minutes/reports to be received and filed. The coin toss request for the corner of Washington Road and Ernston Road received.
As listed?
Yes.
As listed. Any objection? Wonderful. Any committee reports or comments for the day?
Yes, please. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone. I wish you every day is a day of love. Amen.
Amen to that.
Our HRC is having an event for Black History Month on February 24th. I believe that many of us have seen the wonderful and awesome flyers that has been going up. We'd like for everyone in council to attend, and also please share it. It's going to be magnificent. Our team has been working hard. God bless them.
Can you do me one more favor and just give the date and time of that?
It's February 24th, and it's going to be a Zoom meeting.
Yes.
As soon as you go outside, go straight down, you'll see on the board, there's the flyer right there.
Perfect.
To your right, you'll see it on the board. The flyer's right there. It's black with red, yellow, and green on it. And the Zoom meeting is on there. For the police department, I had the privilege to speak with Chief Zabrowski. I even met with everyone. They have presented the council with 3 dates. And I just spoke with our borough attorney, which I will be reaching out to everyone very soon. That will be flexible with everyone. I just spoke to the borough attorney. Unfortunately, we all can't meet at once because that would be a violation of the public, the open public.
Yeah, we always went to that though. That's an orientation.
Do it in stages?
No, they didn't do it in stages, no.
Well, you know what?
He gave us
Just
3 days.
Make sure you don't conduct business, no?
It's our training.
Run by the police, we sit there and listen.
Yeah, it's just a training seminar session, so we listen to their
They show us
present.
the building.
So
Yeah.
it's not a meeting that.
It's not a
I was
meeting, no.
expressing that to you, sir.
It's their orientation. Yeah, it's actually a great orientation. I go every year. Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. So you'll let us know on those
Yes,
dates.
I'll be sending out an email, and I'd like to thank the council president for also responding to my email and making sure that everything was done accordingly. Thank you so much, Council President. Thank you. And I'm done.
Perfect, thank you so much. We're going to now move to Public Works. That is Councilman Conti.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the following minutes and reports be received and filed. The Rent Leveling Board minutes of February 8th, 2022, and Shade Tree Commission minutes of January 20th, 2022.
Second.
And authorization for the Shade Tree Commission to distribute their seedlings on April 23rd, 2022 at the Active Adult Center from 9 a.m. to 12 noon.
Any objection? Okay.
Just some comments. I just want to thank the roads guys for clearing our roads and keeping them safe. You know, they're trying their hardest to make everybody happy, keep the roads clear and the ice melted and whatnot. I think they did a nice job, so I just want to thank them for their hard work.
Sounds good. Anything else?
That's it. Well, I asked him about that. He said, let's see what he could do. That's it, progress.
Thank you so much, Councilman Conti. We're going to move to Water and Sewer Environmental. Councilwoman Roberts, please.
Thank you, Mayor. First time I haven't had a million
Anything
things to
else?
say.
I know. Congratulations.
This was nice. I have no minutes to file or committee reports this time. I do have a couple of things that some of the community had asked about. I understand National Amusements has purchased the old Amboy theaters, and some people had approached me to ask if there was any way that they could reclaim any kind of historical artifacts from there. Do we have a contact with that ownership that we might be able to pose
If
that?
you have someone contact me, but it's not, National Amusements was the previous owner. There's now a new owner of the building. So if somebody wants to contact me, and I'll do my best to see if I can get a hold of the owner.
Right, if you don't mind, I'll contact you this week.
Sure.
We'll see if we can get that taken care of. Okay, and there was another question about the SERA meetings. I don't think that they are public. Is that accurate? Is that, they're public?
Unless they go into closed session, they're public.
Okay.
That Zoom meeting was.
There was, just so people are aware, there was a problem at the last
Okay,
Sarah meeting.
thank you. That's-
Some of the people were not brought into the public part of the meeting. It was a mistake. I'm not sure whether it was a personal mistake or a mistake with the equipment. I just know that we found out about halfway through. I wasn't even in the meeting. And I'm a member, and I kept texting people saying, I'm still in the waiting room, I'm still in the waiting room.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just the public, it was a couple of Sarah commissioners also. So, again, I don't know whether it was a problem with the equipment or the person who was running it, but there was a problem.
Okay, thank you for that, because that explains it, because I thought all the meetings were public. So it was a technical issue. We just have to get over those technical issues. And I have one more comment about the Laurel Street. Dan, do you want me to wait until you introduce that, or?
I would if you don't, I mean,
Okay. All right, thank you, Mayor.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Council. Hold on, I keep losing my place.
Assemblywoman.
I know, Assemblywoman Roberts. I forgot. Recreation, Council President Marr. Boy, two simple
Yes. Thank you,
agenda
Mayor.
sections.
I do not have any minutes or departmental reports to file. However, I always have many committee reports. First, Dolan Street, Sergeant Braille and I have been in communication. I have been badgering him as to when are we finally going to do something about Dolan Street after the Jimmy Kehoe accident. I think we are finally making progress. Once the weather breaks, he and our DPW director will paint a crosswalk and have limited parking signs, and there's other avenues we can take as well, but they are more costly, and this is the first thing that we can do to address that issue. Secondly, I'm happy to report that Creamer Drive and Green Valley Way will have the weight limit signs, because I voted no at the planning board meeting against the warehouses, and because I was the only one to vote no, it still moved forward, and hence the need for weight limit signage. Rec Center. I was at the South Plainfield Rec Center over the weekend. It is a gorgeous facility. We still do not have a rec center. We need a rec center. They have a spray park. I know how you feel about the spray park. They have a pool. They have turf fields. Once again, we do not. We are one of the few remaining towns that do not have these facilities for our community. Again, I've noticed Kennedy Park needs the rubber ground. I believe it's in the budget. I hope it stays in the budget. The park is supposed to be our gem that we need to put money back into. I would like to address the 8 different garbage cans that we have all over every park for a more uniform consistency. I've been in talks with Elise, and she had a great idea of running a contest to have students submit their designs, and then we can wrap the garbage cans, and I thought that was a great idea. I think over the Super Bowl, we all realized how many commercials were geared towards electric vehicles. And Sayreville does not have any electric charging stations. So I think our park and ride would be a great place to get a few of those installed. Again,
Michelle,
Sayreville
did you
needs
notice
to
in the
catch
email
up.
that we got today?
Yes.
There is a grant for that.
That was already forwarded to Mr. Frankel. I call our grant writer. I email our grant writer. We all receive grant writer monthly reports now. So I encourage everyone to reach out to and read the reports to find out where the money is coming from. I've called Jay a few times this week to find out information on these fields. So I'm making phone calls to find out this information. What else? The mural, Mr. Frankel, any approval on the mural? We have our artists, we have our paint. Do we have any approval anywhere to add beauty to our town?
The only place you asked me to investigate was Conrail.
Parkway, I think we started with Parkway, but you said it was too difficult to get approval.
It's not that it's too difficult. The Parkway is the Parkway Bridge, which those massive bridges. I mean, if you want it, we have contacts.
Can we try that since we're getting nowhere with Conrail?
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you. And finally, Mayor, the Hometown Heroes banners, how can we get started with that? I'm happy to help.
Well, that is actually two things I had brought up. First, because it was brought to me by somebody over at the high school, I think it's a great idea. First thing that we need to do is reach out to, who is our contact over at Power Company? We have to reach out to them to.
Tina Eardley?
Yes, because you can't put anything on any type of electrical poles or anything without confirmation and approval from them.
16-page thing.
It is. So Dan.
Milltown, I think, does it. Maybe we can reach out to them.
Yeah, well, no, we don't need to reach out to them. We just need to reach out to our contact over at PSC&G, right? Or JCP&L. I don't know why I always do that. JCP&L. In order to find out what or if anything we're allowed to hang. In the event that that is a complete shutdown, it would make the most sense to turn around and utilize the areas over by Washington Road. But Washington Road is so inundated and lined with trees, that would not be the safest environment, not to mention poles and so forth are so spread apart. The person had recommended Ernston Road, perhaps, North Ernston Road. Again, I don't think we're going to be able to get approvals for that. I think the only shot that we might have is quite possibly here on Main Street, because we actually do hang some things off of our poles for certain holidays. Yeah, so we might be able to do that. I don't think that we can move forward with my contacts over at the school until we can turn around and find a location first, and then we can talk about the banners. So we need to tax Dan with yet one more job, make our phone calls over the JCP&L. When and if we get that denial, which I anticipate we will, then we need to entertain the ideas of potentially putting them up over here at Main Street. While it's not in the best location in proximity to our schools, I do think it's important to display that in our town.
Are we talking about banners that like South River has that just hang down? Or is it across the street?
No, these would be hanging down from individual poles. However, I think that they would be amenable to anything as long as we're showing that school pride and stuff. So I think it wouldn't be fair to entertain discussions and get them all excited or purchasing or making something until we find out where. So yes, that would be great.
Okay, thank you. The community garden is accepting registrations. We have a few payments already. We can only accept up to 42, and then once we hit our max, you'll be on next year's list. So we're excited about that. The South Amboy Movie Theater, National Amusements, who ended up buying that property?
An investor out of Newark.
And do we know when it'll be raised? Soon, hopefully?
Well, there's a couple of issues. One, it's not about being raised. We were also getting tax ratables from the way the building is right now.
Mm-hmm.
You raise the building, you will drop your ratables significantly. So I think they're They're not at the moment ready to raise it. We've talked to them about the graffiti that's on there. We've talked to them about, they have whitewashed the building. My understanding has been twice, but people still come and they graffiti the building.
Right. And it's
So
only getting
they have to figure more security that's possible around there, possibly. But to take down the building and try to force them to take down the building, I wouldn't recommend that right now.
So it could potentially still be in this condition for years?
It's been in that condition. You people have, it's been in here since
Yeah.
10 years I've been here, so I imagine it's been that way for over 20 years.
I was excited to see progress, and that's
40
disappointing
years?
to hear.
One of the other things that was brought up was about the graffiti there, and if we can get in touch with the current ownership while it's there. We have some artists that are wanting to put murals up that make it look better, so that would be something, if we can have a conversation and see if they're,
Well, maybe, Michelle, maybe your artist might be a better, because that's a very, obviously, it's the gateway to Sayreville. Maybe your artist would be interested if we can get them in touch with the people with the ownership. Maybe that would help into getting some of the defeat.
That could be very possible. But I know that, many graffiti artists consider murals, a work of art, and they would never do anything to damage that. So that's
well, this would
hopeful
be
to hear.
an understanding that at some point it would come down. It would be a temporary.
Right. Okay, well, I had one more thing. What was I gonna say? Oh, I am concerned about a town-wide meeting with Board of Ed only because when are we going to figure out financials? Wouldn't it be better to talk about financials of how much are we leasing or selling the property to internally before we are in a room with 100 people that all have different opinions and don't know our financials?
I don't think we should be having a conversation about financials before we know what properties we're looking at. I think that that's the first thing that we need to do. Those discussions about financials, I think we don't want to put the cart before the horse, but I do think it's important to turn around and let the public know, in the interest of transparency, that A, both boards are working together, we're listening and we're hearing them, but I would really like to hear first some of the ideas and some of the rationale behind the sites in which the Board of Education is using to select the pieces that they already did from the map that we provided to them, and see if they have actually entertained any other areas, again, that were maybe Board of Education properties. I think there's a host of information we can provide. I would also request that, I know that they hired a architectural firm that also has their own in-house engineers in order to do this project. They chose not to use the engineer on record, which was CME. So I would request then that, Jay, you come to that meeting as well, if you don't mind, because you have been in contact with them and you can speak intelligently on the sites. So, but I do agree that when it comes time to talk about financials, we can deal with that, but I don't think that we're there yet.
Yeah, I just, past practice, do we give away property?
Well,
Do we lease it? Do we sell it? Are we in the, right. So what is past practice and what should we expect? I think we should
this is
know.
uncharted territory. There's no past practice at all. We haven't had a circumstance like this. But being that even the financials, that's not something that I think we should be doing behind closed doors either, because not for nothing, it's not our financials. It's the taxpayers' financials.
Which is why I'm bringing it up right now.
No, but what I'm saying is that, you know what, to the extent of what the attorneys would consider to be legally appropriate, I wouldn't be opposed to having that conversation in public as well, to the extent that the attorneys deem appropriate. But I don't think that we're there yet.
And I think we also have to keep in mind that there's things that we still need in our town, like a rec center and like a
Absolutely.
DPW building. And I think that we also have to consider that when we start gifting away property that we still need.
Well, there's a lot.
A lot.
Particularly if you're looking at a piece of property that doesn't have water and sewer, where Board of Education property, most of them already have water and sewer.
Agreed.
Something on Journey Mill Road, maybe not.
Agreed.
Cheesecake Road, there's a lot of things,
I agree, Mayor, and that's why I think that we need to have this meeting.
It's not just the property, it's everything that goes along with the building. And
Yep.
I've been saying to anybody that listens to me, I have to say it, maybe people up here would think it was an needed more parking, they went up because the property they had was limited. I don't know whether it would be more money,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it's ever been discussed.
I think that we need a lot of answers from the Board of Education as well when it comes to this project and what they're looking at. And I also look at the fact that our budget in comparison to the Board of Education's budget is exponentially higher on their end. So I don't know what it is they're looking to do as a cost out. What I don't like is when you have these committees and groups and these people are saying one thing, and you saw it happen right here with Mr. Smith when he came up and he actually questioned, I forget what it was, he was saying that within the maps, that the maps only provided, or many of the properties on the map that was provided was blue acres and green acres. I don't like when misinformation is being put out. So how do you eliminate that misinformation and create this sense of, deceit, and then you turn around and you have these people that are fighting so diligently for the town, feeling like one entity isn't being transparent. So how do you turn around and remedy that? You put everybody in a room so that you can't point the fingers, so that you can't turn around and go email to email, and this one said this and this one said that. You put them in a room. You put them in the room and you let the people ask the questions and you answer them. And you know what? I have a feeling it's going to be a long meeting. But I think that something this important deserves the time to be discussed. You'll notice in this meeting, yes, we have a 5-minute limit. Mr. Duffy was very nice to ask me to extend it, but I don't know if you realize I don't keep track of that. Because if you are going to come out and you feel that impassioned to speak within reason, I'm going to let you speak. You pay your money, you pay your taxes, you come here, you live here, you deserve our attention. So I try my best to turn around and not push that limit. And I hope that for this meeting, even though I know there will be enough people there, I'm certain that we have the opportunity to let as many people speak as they possibly can. So thank you. I appreciate that the council was in support of getting us all in the room. Anything else, Councilwoman, Council President Marr?
That's it, progress.
All right, well, I hate to do it, but I do have a couple of items for my own agenda, for my own committee reports. First of all, I'm going to start off with, for those people that were able to attend, we had the swearing in of our officers not very long ago, and it was absolutely phenomenal. I think we had a total of 12 officers. I think 11 were here. It was one of the best ceremonies that I have been a part of within our town, and I think that we should do that moving forward, regardless of how many people. In the past, I did feel that was very rushed. This entire council chambers was packed with family members, with babies, with grandparents, and it was and husbands and wives. It was the most amazing amazing event, and I was so very proud and grateful to be a part of that. If you haven't seen the pictures, I'm certain that they were circulating on social media. It was a very proud day for us all. Second, I want to talk about transparency, as a matter of fact, communication and openness to the public. One of the things that I am proud and happy about is that we are all here today and that we opened up council chambers and we opened up our borough buildings. However, what I am not happy with is the fact that in order to participate right now in our council form of government, you have to be here. That is still unacceptable. COVID is still here. There are individuals that do not feel comfortable coming out. There are individuals that are compromised. There are individuals that work nights, and there are people at home taking care of family and children. We should be doing everything in our power to make sure that as many people can participate in government as possible. I will not, under any circumstances at this point, I've already tasked Mr. Frankel with contacting Tom Bracken, our technology director. I want our next meeting hybrid. Two things that I do know. Number one, Tom has been working diligently in order to get the sound systems that he believes are needed in order to conduct that meeting to the highest quality. It is my understanding that one of the key components is back orders, as you can expect, because everybody is moving to these virtual style hybrid meetings. I understand that. But I am not looking for the big shebang and beautiful this rolling out technology. No, right now, I want something that's going to work. And if we were able to do a virtual meeting without the public, we should be able to do a virtual meeting to some extent with the public. Dan, I know you spoke to Tom, and I know he's got a big plate of things to do, but this has to be a priority. It upsets me that we have so many important, pressing items that our residents want to talk about, and not everybody that wants to be here can be here. So I know you've already reached out. We need to make that happen.
I will speak to Tom tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Any objection from the council on that? It needs to happen. Yep. He did, and I love him. And I know that there was a reason for it, but now we need to move forward. Or I'll be honest with you. If we can't move forward with a hybrid solution, I think that the council needs to consider going back to virtual, not because of the COVID situation, but literally just to allow as many people to be participating in our form of government until that happens. It is not right. There are a lot of people that I know wanted to be here this evening and could not be. Something to consider, but I have faith in Tom that he's going to make this happen. Next, I also had the opportunity this weekend to meet with our Veterans Alliance, some of the members of our Veterans Alliance. They have asked a request, and I hope I did not speak out of turn, but as the mayor, I told them that we would be more than willing to give them this support. Our Memorial Day parade, in my opinion, needs to happen, should happen, and will happen. It has been 2 years since we have been able to honor our veterans appropriately as a result of the pandemic. I believe that we were able to have our Christmas Day Parade of Lights, our holiday Parade of Lights successfully, and we should be having our Memorial Day Parade. So they have asked for some assistance from the borough. Some of the fellers are getting a little older, and what they need is a little assistance with the administration of this, meaning that they just need a little help with making contacts to the bands. They want to 100% have that control to continue to show us exactly what they want to do. They are still going to build this parade and ceremony. But what they need is the manpower to help. They need volunteers to assist them with lining up people that are participating in the parades. I think the fellas have, and the women too involved in helping, they have earned that through their service to our country. We need to volunteer, step up, and help them to celebrate this in our town. So I'm asking here of Dan, if you can have, we will talk, I believe that Brian would probably be the best way to go through the rec advisory board and through our rec director. I would like Brian to reach out to Stanley Drawl, so that way they can coordinate together and we can provide them with the assistance that they need, and also hopefully come up with a couple of new ideas. The hot dog distribution and the drink distribution. One of the big things that we want to do is have a great turnout, but we also want people to stick around for the actual memorial service itself. Many people enjoy the parade, but as soon as we move over to turn around and actually do the services at the site and listen to a few speeches, everybody beats it out. We need to find a way to let people really honor what that true, what the message and what the meaning of this parade is really about. So I think it's incumbent upon all of us to push that message, let our veterans know that we love them and we are here for them and that we are going to continue to honor them. So does anybody from the council have an objection with our assisting our Veterans Alliance in making this parade a reality?
No objection, but curious, what pool of candidates do we expect, Brian or the rec department to kind of get?
I think this is an all hands on deck situation.
Okay, so,
I think we have to ask them first. I don't think they'll have a problem with it, but I think we have to ask them first.
okay.
Yeah.
In general, there might be like a section where people can kind of sign up, or it's more like a contact, or like in case of like sharing this information with others.
I think one of the first things that we should do is exactly what the Veterans Alliance has asked, which is to let us get them in contact with somebody from the borough so that they can help coordinate with them. And then once they turn around and have the opportunity to speak, and this needs to happen like tomorrow, because they need to make the contacts to the bands and the other individuals that they ask to march in the parade, because they get booked up very quickly. They're about a month behind already, but they believe that they can make this happen. Once Brian and Stanley and whomever else within the borough is going to assist, then they can come back to us and say, this is what we need. Sometimes if you ask for volunteers, you can become overwhelmed by the sheer number of assistants. You don't want to turn people away, and you want to be able to give them direction about what you really need help with. So I think we do exactly what they requested of us. give us that contact person, and then we turn around and say, we're ready to bring whoever you need, and we'll organize it the way that you want it done.
Okay, they'll give us a contact person.
Yes, exactly.
Understood.
Does anybody have an objection with,
I just have a few questions, because in the past, 1 year it's run by the league, it's never run by
Right,
the
it
veterans.
alternates.
they're doing it to now in conjunction with one another because of the share number. At this point now, I think they realize that they need the help, that it needs to come together. I had the opportunity to meet with Joel Bloom, I met with Stanley, I met with Ken Kelly. Who else did I meet? I met with Dad, too.
And who's on the Veterans Alliance?
What's up?
Who's on the Veterans Alliance?
They're actually going to send me that information as well. They asked.
No, I thought you went to a meeting, you said.
No. They actually had asked me to, they're gonna talk to me about that as well. So they had asked if we could hold off on those appointments. We might have to amend those appointments, they had asked that. So I will talk to them again about that, they'll send over some information. So I met with those individuals, they had asked to meet with me, which I appreciate it, for that assistance. And I think that it's a fair ask. Any objections? No? Any objections? No? Mary, any objections? I think I just told you, Ken Kelly, Joel Bloom, Stanley Drawl, and Jess's dad.
You mentioned one name.
Yeah. Do you think that I would come to the table and turn around and speak on behalf of the veterans without having the support and the ask from them? I would never do that. So I was very grateful that they had asked me to come and sit with them. It was a great discussion, and I think it's going to be a wonderful event. Any other questions? Wonderful. Last but not least, I think that's it. Tech, swearing in, meeting with veterans, we're good. Progress on my end. Business administrators report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Authorization to amend the ASME salary guide to add title keyboarding clerk 3 purchasing assistant.
We'll just roll through these unless someone has an objection, okay?
Authorization to amend management salary guide to add temporary per diem school traffic guards, municipal department head senior services, principal payroll clerk, employee benefit specialist, and assistant designated employee reporter stipend. Authorization to amend SAM salary guide to add technical assistant to the construction official. Letter received offering the, second please. Letter received offering the borough $33,220 for the vacating of Laurel Street to allow for the future development of the parcel. The property is located on the east side of Main Street in the South Amboy section.
Dan, this is the one I just wanted to clarify, because last meeting, we were under the assumption that Laurel Street was, where they were vacating was right by the park, and I checked with Jay. It's not that area where we would assume a single-family home would be built. It's on the other side.
Right, it's on the east side, right.
Right, so I just wanted to be clear, because I think I was misleading people, and I think we were all doing that. It's a different parcel. The parcel that we're talking about is on the,
It's on the
on
east,
the edge of the water.
right, it's on the east side, it's on the east side of Old Route 4.
So there's no residential there.
Right.
So that would be okay. I said if they were going to build anything other than a single family, I wouldn't
Right.
approve of it, but I just wanted to correct it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'd just like to say, when this was first brought up, yes, it would be sent to the open space committee, which was, it was unanimous that this be vacated. We have no intention of them building that road. Plus, usually when something is vacated, it is offered to the property owner, whereas this case is property owner's willing to pay for it.
Okay. Authorization to amend Chapter 9, Animal Control to add feral cat program. Authorization to award a contract to Allied Universal Protection Services for security guards at the municipal court to the NJ Contract 19 in an amount not to exceed $40,000. Authorization to award a contract to Foley Caterpillar to New Jersey State Contract T2188 A85-846 for the repair of a payloader damaged during the recent snowstorm in an estimated amount of $40,000. Also in Public Works, I need authorization to charge $50 per community garden lot with a minimum 42 lots. Authorization to promote Cheryl McQuaid to Clerk 2 in the Recreation Department effective February 16th, 2022. Authorization to amend the Kennedy Park Playtime Program for the spring session from 10 weeks to 4 weeks with the following fees: 2 days $45, 3 days $65, 4 days $80, 5 days $90. Authorization to increase the summer camp fee for residents for $230 and non-resident $255.
Yeah.
215, I think it went up $15, yeah. I think it went up $15. And water and sewer, we talked in the water sewer committee, I didn't bring it up last time, authorization to hire a meter reader. Authorization to hire a meter reader. Yes. But it's in the budget hearings. The meter readers from the water department budget, and we talked about that, and the water is a separate budget, so that's the only. It's, understand, so whenever the finance committee decides we need to give him help, we have to have the money to give him help. And that should be a priority. It should be a priority, but it's gotta be allocated in a budget line. Okay.
Add congratulations. Erin's here about getting the animal control feral cat program started. She did a lot of really good work with a lot of wonderful people. Congratulations.
Lots more to come to make that hum and run, and we're gonna need some good people on that board. And it's, I think that for everybody that's listening, they need donations. They can't keep this going without donations in the parking lot. It's very important. I mean, people have no idea the amount of animals that are suffering. I mean, it sounds like, you know, not taking care of them like this, they're suffering. It's not true. Thank you. It's my soapbox. Sable's report, it's you.
Just one item, Madam Mayor. Thank you. I have a budget transfer resolution, and that is it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Borough Engineer's report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. 2 items this evening. First is the Church and Smullen Street project. We need a change order approved to cover additional work requested by the Water Department, but it's not going to increase the contract amount. We're able to adjust quantities. It's just a way to pay the contractor for the extra work that he did. And
I saw that. I saw some change. I said, okay,
Good.
that's a wash.
Yep, exactly. Second item is 2021 road project. We're receiving bids tomorrow for a number of the partial streets recommended by Public Works. As long as everything's in order, we'd like a resolution awarding that contract at your next meeting. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Borough Attorney, anything? Thank you very much. I just want to open to the public one more time. Anybody?
Just thank you again for caring.
You're very welcome.
For caring.
Motion to close the public.
Motion to close the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn. Motion to
Second.
adjourn. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
You
Have a great night.
too.
Take care.
Thank you.
I've
been doing that.
You can't do it too quickly, though. Reach out to me.
How are you, sir? Former council. If you need anything, but you know, yes. You're running
I have a pile at home I haven't brought in.
whatever.
I had I did.
Overall,
So he doesn't come to the packet.
transitions to that.
He come to the committee. People that come to the packet meeting include Jeff Smith, who's his wife,
However, I was conscious of the fact that there would be enough votes for those two initiatives.
Was there anybody else that applied, or there was?
No, in terms of the vote count, me again, my
Generally, people, it's hard to get people to serve on a board. There's a lot of boards, with a lot of people. I mean, I understand the issue